time. And sadly, because watching their previous games, at least speaking for TBI when I was here hosting, and I got a chance to see them play, and just like you said, it's just inconsistent. They would have some rounds, but unlike the top or the more experienced teams, they would take one round and X that by 5 and then follow through and do much better considerably in the entire match or series.
I think that comes with, as you said, lots of games. And when you're a team like Rock Esports, you play a lot, not only scrims, but the official games also within the West League. You play against 3 teams in 3 different days. And for a team like Rock Esports, before the West League, they were playing the Worlds. They went to China. They played here and there. So being active for a long while makes you just consistent, and you normalize the winning situation for you and your team. Okay, it's fine. We can't stay winning. We can't stay on the A side. We can keep ourselves on a winning streak, and he's consistent with it. But the thing is that 999 or even TBI, they get the first map and they choke the second map because they have the pressure of closing down the rounds, and they can't even put their hands on the last rounds. That's what we saw, I think, with 999 winning the first map and then not managing to close down the second map. It comes to the late rounds where they choke. Even when TBI did make it a one-sided game on the second map, 999 started a comeback. You saw mentioned started to get himself some rounds. You saw who else? BYK, CRS. They started to climb with some rounds, but 999 almost threw the game outside.
I mean, let's just say it is a mental game, and when you consider the elements that are involved, the fact that these 2 teams are in the lower bracket, and I don't mean that with any kind of disrespect. I'm just saying the fact that it's there and they don't have the experience that the other somewhat, statistically speaking, players and teams have, they just are overwhelmed sometimes and stress out too much. They should just pretend like you're playing a formidable team regardless of where they are in the standing, and just try your best, because if you're gonna keep considering how like whether it's Rock or Anubis or whatever, the teams that are considerably stronger, then you're just gonna choke,
Yeah.
Anyways, game 3. Let's go, baby, to the casters.
Let's go. Where I'm going?
All right. Here we are, game 3, the decider here between TBI and 999, who had a bit of a rough go after a first map win. Map 2 did not look the best for the 999 squad, and hopefully they can find a way to bounce back here. But this is probably the first time I'm starting to doubt my prediction a little bit in this series, because map 2 did not look good at all for 999.
No, it didn't. It is one of those things, though, sometimes where, look, if you're just having a bit of a bad streak, sometimes you just can't find your way into a map. I know that was their map pick as well, so that obviously is an even worse look in a sense, but these things happen, right? Like, we've all been there. You just feel like sometimes it doesn't really matter what you do. Everything goes wrong. Nature of the beast. You got to sort of be able to brush that one away, and you can still go on to win this series. 999 in a position to do so. Like we've said, they haven't picked up a series win so far in CFWL this year, but there's no better time to start than now. In fact, if they want to be in the conversation at all, they probably do need to start now. And in theory, TBI is going to be the team to do it against, and hopefully they'll be able to get something rolling here on Eagle Eye, which is now our map number 3. Dirty already taken out pretty early on in the piece, so that's a decent start from 999.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one already. Favor getting the double kill to open it up, and this is where I think it's going to be a tough round already in the making for Hunt and King to answer back. Hunt, though, surprisingly with the Om in his hands this time, looking for something over towards the A-bomb site. King grouping up now alongside him, and you've got Favor and CRS just playing the off angles, waiting for that trade to come through. Hunt good for a second kill, though, already. This is where it could get a bit scary. King able to isolate CRS. The rotation comes through, and King, he's good for it. Now there's some, but Hunt can hang on here in the 1-on-2. The flank, though, already coming quickly, but Hunt good for a third kill. Surely not the 2-on-5. Flare, thankfully, there to save the day.
A bit of a smile. Back into the swing of things pretty quick, Mark. Booker leading this charge for TBI. There's a couple of defenders already you can see set up here. 9 have BYK in position. He's unable to land any shots, and the pace from TBI has just beaten 999 to the punch. The bomb site is now theirs. Booker having a look for some more kills, and he might well just get them. There's Dane falling.
Nice little pick there from Favor. Still, 2-on-5 situation. Penguin just kind of holding the line, knows they've got the timer on their side, and he's going to force CRS and make a quick move inside. Actually, Favor, who gets a double kill. They have a chance to win this after all. Favor, good for 3. The last player on the flank, though, they're not ready for it. There's just no time to make this happen now. And Dirty, he's held on just enough.
Just 2 very, very close rounds in the end, but 1 apiece is the scoreline. That's where we've split the first 2 rounds of every single map of this series. So not a whole lot changing up into map 3, it would seem. We continue to remain pretty close in this series.
Here in this round, it's all about who's going to take that early momentum their way and kind of start to run away with it. I do think a lot of it comes down to players like Minchin who like to go for these lurk plays, but he's going to have to be a little bit careful. There's a player in the corner, and he actually catches them off guard. It's going to be Min taking down King early on here. And unfortunately, on the other side, an immediate trade. Dirty, able to answer, takes down Dane on that fight, and equalizes to the 4-on-4, but this is definitely an interesting map to see as the map number 3 in the series, because it's actually a really similar map overlay to Ankara, and I'm wondering if that might actually be a slight advantage just knowing how that first map went for 999.
I don't know. I think you're probably reading into it a little bit too much there. Like, that map was so close. I don't know that you can really draw too many conclusions at all from it, really. QJK make so he'll back off as well as slide. The aggression from TBI here towards the A site means QJK has to kind of get this one done alone. There was nobody there to help him out. BYK now coming across. Won't be getting the freebie even on to Penguin. So TBI get themselves another.
Yeah, a bit of a tough round there. A lot of these lurk plays not really working out for 999, but we're going to see what they do to maybe change up the pace. Min and CRS not having the best of maps so far. Flare, though, back on the seems to be getting at least an opening pick here and there to get things rolling. Equalizes things for now. Actually gets the advantage along with Favor in the BO Hotel here, and it's going to be up to Favor to hold the line as well. As the push comes through, it's just Dirty and Penguin left on the field. Favor good for a second, looking for a third on the round, but Penguin, he is left all alone here. 1 versus 3 does at least have the C4 to work with, but he's already been spotted out. Really wants to take this challenge, but actually catches the flank right away. Down to 42 HP. It's still Favor holding the anchor position on the B Hotel. The fight is going to come his direction. 16 health remaining in Favor. He's good for 3 kills himself, 10 on the half already.
Yeah, a bit of a scary one for 999, though. Penguin in the 1v2. He could have definitely got that done. He's a dangerous player. Has been good today. I won't go his way this time around. I was going to say, I thought we were into the round again based on the way that the players looked on the camera there. Penguin and Booker both going down early on in the piece here for TBI, but the round's not over. King pulling one back, and it is 3-on-3 again. Got that map updated now as well, which is good. Get the... Oh, never mind. So you could get the overarching view of what's happening. As Minchin is going to be making this push into King. Dirty there as well. Hunt on the complete opposite side of the map. But it is this push out on B that I'm interested in seeing, because Minchin looks like he's about to find the timing. whipping his shots, big spray down. Gets it done in the end onto Dirty. Goes for more, but goes right into King, who is able to double down, in fact. And so now the round swings back in the favor of 999 for a second, as Dane has put himself in the 1v1.
Yeah, this is a pretty crucial round for both teams, trying to get that early lead in this series. You've got the long flank coming through from Hunt all the way up B long. He's going to kill half of that time just trying to get up to the side here. So Dane definitely with some work cut out for him. Hunt, though, going to go for a full reposition on mid against the giving him that space might be a bit of a mistake. Dane gets the early spot, needs to land the shot, though, not going to be able to make it happen. Hunt with barely any health, able to win the round.
Yeah, these little 50-50 rounds can be a big difference maker, considering how close this series has been. If you win that 1v1, you might win the team the map. You won't be thinking about it necessarily right now, but later on down the track, how important could that round be for TBI? They will hold on to the lead for the moment, 3-2. But a long way still yet to go here on this final map of Eagle Eye.
Nice start there from Dane. Push is coming through. Favor going to find another, but Penguin and Hunt are trying to sneak behind enemy lines. It's not going to work. Dirty now left alone. It's a 1 versus 3 situation. He's already down to half HP as well, stuck behind this box, but he's not going to go checked here. A huge error from Favor. Could potentially open this round wide up, but no, not today. Dane makes sure that one doesn't go without a punishment here, and just like that, it is going to be 999 finding themselves around.
3 apiece once again. Yeah, yesterday and today have been super tit for tat. It's felt like all the matches, well, not all of them, but the majority of the matches that we've watched have been, okay, I get a round or two and then you get a round or two. We've not been massive blowouts for the most part. Chris, nice triple kill from him as Dirty, Booker, and Hunt all go into the grave. He'll get a 4th as well. 999, very pleased with that one, and they will now take the lead.
Yeah, already looking like a much better map on their hands. The GR side, though, tends to be where this team's a lot more comfortable, so they still have to be ready for a good Blacklist side if they want to close this one out. But TBI, we've seen a lot of back and forth already as well. This is where they need to continue to find those responses. If 999 can start to string some rounds together, that's when things look a little bit scarier for TBI in this situation. And he's got the key position here. Good for the double kill. Gets some chip damage as well onto Penguin as the trade comes through, but that's a lot of early progression. Already looking good for 999.
Okay, could pretty much seal the deal with that kill. It's not quite over the line just yet, but 3v4 is going to be a difficult one to come back from. A 2v4, I was going to say, and now it's obviously a 2v4 into a 1v4. So Hunt just floating around on A. He's heard the footstep of Dane. He knows that he is there, but Dane's going to turn on a dime and finish him off. 999. Starting to look more comfortable on the map.
Yeah, a lot of these early plays are a bit risky from 999, but it's surprising that they're not going punished. There's a lot where Min, especially in that last round, he shouldn't have been able to get 2 kills so easily, but still able to make it happen. This time it's Flair to find the opener. Favor goes down, but it's not going to matter. Again, Min with the backstab, good for a double kill. Has it now sitting in a 3-on-2, but the HP is not that great. Booker still has a chance to win this if he can isolate all 3 of these players in 1v1 situations. But Dane and CRS, they're going to make the smart decision to go ahead and group up. But the C4 is on the move. It's going to be Booker working his way back into mid to potentially go for the quick play and plant this one on the A bomb site. Dane, though, going to be pushing out with CRS. They've got the information that the B hotel is clear, so they should know that the A plant is the likely outcome here. So it's really going to be on to Booker, though. He's had a bit of a lackluster performance on the day, but if he could win the 1v2 now, that would be a huge way to get things swinging back towards TBI.
Yeah, they were kind of already on their way over as that plant went down, but it's taken them quite a while to get across the site. Luckily, they've spotted out Booker. Chris, ooh, he had a bit of a freebie in there. Didn't quite land those shots, and now on offer, Booker down and gets both. Oh, Chris is going to be kicking himself. Just couldn't quite find the line for the headshot. He was trying to line it up. Didn't get it in time, and so a critical round will go the way of TBI.
Yeah, really good 1v3 there from Booker to keep things nice and close going into the second half. But now, this is where TBI has to show what they can do on the defense. This is a tough map to defend just because of how small it is. There's a lot of quick rotations and fakes that the BL side can throw against you. So they've got to be ready to lock this one down. And you can see 999 not so sure of what they want to do at the start of this round. They went for the early mid-control play just to see if there was going to be some sort of counter-aggression, but it is TBI taking the safer approach, playing a bit of an off angle. Here's going to be Hunt with the Alm in hand over towards Long. It's been interesting to see today kind of the progression of throwing the Alms in different corners of this map from this team. This time Hunt, though, he's going to have 4 players quickly in front of him to fight with it. Able to get a collateral damage piece, taking down one and doing 80 damage to favor there as well. Jumps onto the boost spot here. I really like this angle to try and catch them off guard. He gets one more before going down, but the trades are there hugely in favor of 999. But Booker, could he do it again? Another 1v3 clutch has to be in the cards.
Yeah, but again, C4's been left so far away from the rest of the team here that Booker, I mean, it's a very real possibility he would end up isolating a fight there. That obviously hasn't been the case. So he didn't quite catch that timing, but it's always a risk when you're leaving the C4 back away from the team. Plant's obviously gone down now on A. And Booker having a bit of a cursory glance into B to see if there was anyone over there, but he has to quickly turn his attention back on towards A. And now he's been spotted out, definitely there by Dane. And finished off QJK with a bit of a flex. He's a handsome-looking man. And he'll be feeling good after that round as we see 999 increase their lead to 6-4. That's not going to hurt either.
Yeah, so far, pretty strong map for 3, at least, players on this team getting these entries consistently. Min, Favor, Dane, all of them doing really well with the entries. The other 2 just kind of being there for the cleanup, but across the board, playing well as a team. TBI as well, though. Everybody's fragging this time around. It's just these little situations that they're letting slip up just a bit towards 999, and that's where the difference has been made so far. But TBI, it's definitely not over just yet. The GR side, not too scary on this map to think you could win it out on, and this is where we hope to see maybe a change of pace. With Hunt already being down and out in this round, it does make it a little bit difficult. As usual, though, C4 is still going to be down in a place where no one has control over it, but Booker at least able to settle the score for now to make it a 4-on-4.
Oh, Booker. Gonna make short work of Dane. So forget about that 4v4, Kyle. We're back to 4-on-3 now. Turn my eyes over to BYK as he takes a fight in the middle. Get the better of Penguin, but Minchen pushing up onto the site does at least get the 1-for-1. That'll take a little bit of space back away from TBI. Numbers still favorable, though. And this fight in middle is a critical one. JK gets it done. He should recognize, though, that that's the A player. If he would just book it into A now, he gets a plant for free. Instead, he's reset and coming back over towards the B side of the map, which is a little more heavily guarded.
Yeah, it's a tough play call here. But Favor, if he can sneak in, he might actually be able to get behind Penguin. Penguin not ready for that one. I'm not sure why they didn't anticipate this B push, but now Dirty. It's a 1-on-2 situation. He's going to go ahead and just jump out the mid windows here, gets spotted by the shoulder peak. And now it's up to Flair to hold on. And again, 999. The rounds aren't clean, but they're winning the majority of these late fights.
Yep, scoreline looking pretty good now. Nice and healthy. 7-4. This is about as one-sided as we've seen any of the maps in this series go. Not to say that it can't swing back a little bit for TBI, but Seems like most of the proceedings are going the way of 999 right now. Not going to let that get to their heads at all, though. They're going to continue to play a little slower here. Use the time that's available to them.
Looks like we are going to see a couple of execution nades getting thrown towards the A side of the map. 999 looking for that A-long fight potentially here. It's going to be a triple flash out of the mid-double doors. They're going to go ahead and split quickly on to A, and there's just no way they can stay alive. Every single player flashed on the A bomb site for TBI. No trades there to happen. Favor as well pushes through the smoke fearlessly to take down Hunt. King left in a 1 versus 5 situation. Able to get 2, but that's going to be it.
Yeah, I was super decisive from 999. The more I'm seeing of this second half, the more I'm thinking, why did they not pick Eagle Eye? Why did they pick Port? This was, I mean, this is clearly so much better for them right now. They're looking super comfortable. Hunt around the corner, going to walk right into the crosshair of QJK. Meanwhile, though, there has been a bit of a fight over mid. Chen fighting his way back on in there. King, alongside Penguin, holding it strong. It looked for a moment like 999 would take that area of the map back. They don't find a bit of a progression up here from 999. They've got to quickly get into this site. QJK, I mean, he could be getting the bomb plant down right now. They must know, Kyle. There was a fight over middle. They must assume the B site is clear, but they don't.
Yeah, now it's definitely not going to be, but it doesn't matter. They run right into Dane, and he's able to get out of there as well. No forced trades just yet, but Dirty, he's got the information to work with. Spots Dane on the shoulder peak, but actually now both players are going to be grouped up here, but Dirty has been spotted out. It's going to be a 1-for-1 fight here. Dirty, less HP to work with. Favor looking for a huge round for 999 if he can find it, but the shots aren't landing comfortably either way. The C4 still needs to be planted, and that's where Dirty, he's going to play the clock here. Goes for the full wraparound, but Favor, is he ready for the reposition? Yes, he is, but it doesn't matter. Dirty is the one to land the shots.
All right, chances definitely going begging for 999 in that round. But it's okay. They've got a bit of a buffer to play with. No, they weren't too concerned at this point. And once again, TBI are going to try to employ the same strat. This time, however, 999 are far more prepared for it. And it's not worked out kindly at all for the GR side. TBI have been demolished.
Yeah, at this point, it's really just Hunt looking for anything he can, able to find one on the Favor, and at least now there's a fighting chance on the retake, but little does he know, Blurk is already quickly flanking him. It's going to be Flare looking for the backstab here. Hunt makes the smart call to force himself onto the bridge, but he's just not prepared for the quick backstab there, and now it's a match point opportunity here. 999, they're going to have quite a few chances to close this one out in regulation. And with how they've been playing, it seems like they are well prepared to potentially take the win here.
Yeah, definitely don't want to be letting this one slip. 999. I mean, this is your opportunity to get the first win on the board for this season of CFWL. So get it done here and now. Get it done clean. Don't let TBI back into this map. Chris, he's going to listen to me by getting that opening pick, and there's another good flood from 999, but ultimately enough of a defense being put together by TBI that this will not end up being the easy win that 999 wanted. The start looked good, but the rotation was really nice for TBI. They know, in with a chance, and he gets it done. That's it for 999. They finally got their first win on the board here in the CFWL 2025 Season 1. And they're very happy about it. As you can see, it's been a rough run for them so far, but it is nice to get something going their way.
It's good to see them pull off the victory here. A very well-earned one. It looked a little bit shaky after map number 2. We weren't so sure what direction this was going to go in, but Triple Nine, it's the best performance we've seen from this team all season long, so hopefully a sign of things to come for this team, because they're clearly still within their bounds to fight back in the season and maybe get themselves out of that last place position after all. But for TBI, it's a bit of a bitter one after that, so we'll see what happens next for them. But that's going to close us out here for this match, and we'll send it back to the desk to break this one down.
Welcome back. Thank you so much, Alvish, Guy, and Kyle. To say the least, it's a well-deserved victory.
It's a well-deserved one.
Yeah, I think Triple Nine did stand out in this series, and they did pretty decent.
Man, I'm super happy for Triple Nine. I'm super happy for Triple Nine because they do deserve the win after a long continuous losing streak and technical issues that got them to forfeit a couple of matches here and there. But finally, man, they put their hands on their first win against who? Against Penguin, against Hunt King, Dirty Booker, TPI. It took them a long day, man. It took them a long time, but they finally managed to get it. A big credits needs to be given to CRS and BYK on the first match, and the last match, QGK with the snipers. You know, with Triple Nine, they have the most talented individuals when it comes to sniper, man. I think they put themselves with the big boys like Snare, like Spoxy, and the rest of the boys. I liked how they played, and the aggression on the attack side from Team Triple Nine watching the game is just mesmerizing and need to be studied for other teams. They play on an attack side insane, to be honest, on A side, especially on A side. They abused the A side and they split push A couple of times, leaving one to lurk always on a B.
Yeah, I mean, well-deserved victory for Triple Nine, and I think moving forward, I really hope that both TBI and Triple Nine can salvage a little bit of the misplays that they had, whether it was technical or inexperience and so forth, you know?
Yeah, look at the KDA of QGK 2.10. The number reminds me of BYK on the first map. Speaking of BYK, 1.50, but we need to give some credits on Eagle Eye for TPI still. I mean, Hunt did pull up a good game. Nonetheless, he did play insane. He's trying to get some rounds. It was a back and forth game at the start of it, but once the side switch did happen, Triple Nine did make it a one-sided game. We don't see a lot of one-sided game when it comes to TPI and Triple Nine. And honestly, Koshiri, after seeing the second game, I thought TPI would take it home. With the
same. I couldn't agree more. I really felt that TBI had a chance, you know, but like we said, there's just it's confusion, you know. They're struggling to end and finish any series for that matter, whether it's a win or lose streak. It's mostly been a lose streak, and I feel bad because at the end of the day, yeah, they're invested and they're all in this together if you think about it, but I don't know, man. I feel like Triple Nine deserves the victory. I really think TBI should start reconsidering their options here, and I'm not sure what to say regarding that. And here's the MVP, BYK, man. What a pleasure. I would love to have a interview with him as well, you know what I mean?
Insane, man. He played an insane match, the first one, and I think he got the MVP because of it. The first match he was on 24 kills. The second match is a bit underperforming, but managed to still get 15 kills at the end of the game. The last game he was unleashed, going all in. This BYK guy, thing is, when you play with the sniper, you need to be ready to switch to your secondary, the pistol, and this guy is talented with this move. Get a quick scope, switch to the pistol, get another one, and maybe get himself at 3 kills. And I think he's a main reason, at least for the first game, victory for Team Triple Nine.
Yep.
For the interview, I want to ask him a lot of questions, such as, what's next for you guys? What do you focus on? What's your next move? What's the key measure you think that made you win the whole series?
And we'll have to wait and see. I think he's going to give us some insight as to what was going on in Triple Nine and what they're looking forward to moving in the future, you know. And I'm expecting, maybe, I'm not sure in this series or league, but probably in the next one, we might even be able to see a new Entropy, a new TBI, and a new Triple Nine as well. And without further ado, let's jump into the interview with Mr. BYK.
Let's go, man.
Hello.
Hi. What's up? How are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good, of course, because of the first win now. It was pretty important for us. I hope we will get it still like this.
Hope so.
Maybe in the best case, maybe we can get top 5. In the best case, like we want to reach, but it's hard. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible, man. Don't lose hope. And I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure, like, you guys seem strong today. And I've been watching a lot of games, not just for you guys, but in the series. And I'm pretty sure you can be here to contend. You can contest a lot of these top 5 ranks. What do you think, Hazem? Do you have any questions?
Man, I loved how you played the first match, if I'm not mistaken, 25 kills with the sniper on both attack and defense, and the last match as well. I just want to ask you one question, BYK. So what do you think was the main point that made you guys put your hands on the first victory?
To be honest, like we play like how to say it, like we was like a bit scared before, I think like we didn't had like the mentality, like sometimes it was a bit
tense, yeah.
but intense, but at the end we fixed it. I also, like me, I'm a main orb, but I play much rifle in the team, but now we changed it, and I think it's also good,
Yeah, and you did prove yourself. And I'm pretty sure you're all professionals, and you will continue to prove yourself. And I thank you so much, BYK, and send my regards to the rest of the team.
Let's go, BYK.
Best of luck in the rest of the series and for this year, man. Best of luck.
See you, man.
Thank you. See you.
Bye.
What
a gentleman, man. What a nice guy. What an amazing personality.
Yeah. I'm super happy for this one, actually, man. Now I think all of the teams did put their hands on their first victory. Some got a lot, some just got settled with one victory, and this moves down to our main event, Koshori.
Yeah, the most anticipated series, to say the least. You know what I mean?
Entropy and GG, man.
Listen, I've seen GG play, and the fact that Spoxy's back. I really think Entropy it's not going to be a big gap, but I think Entropy has a lot on their table to be able to beat GG.
How can I agree more, man? How can I agree more? And how can I even think to disagree with you? GG is just on another level right now. Continuous win streak with the comeback of the king, Spoxy. Thing is, with Spoxy, is the only sniper with GG. So when there was some games that he was absent, it's a big impact when you remove this guy off the roster. It's not like TPI when you remove someone and put Aven. Oh, that's still the same because you are rifle out, rifle in. But now sniper out and no sniper with Team GG. But 75 win rate to 38 win rate, third place against the 6th place. I mean, the chances are so high with Team GG. Thing is, with Team GG, in my opinion, they have the most clutch rate and 1v3 win rate, the highest within the other teams, because they have Flex with them, they have Ruffin with them, Spoxy, and the rest of the boys. Speaking of Spoxy,
I mean, I'm intimidated. If you just look at both pictures, Gainer and Spoxy are not messing around, like excluding not just the stats, KDA and whatnot, like these have been not just anchors, but they've been crucial for both teams. And just to say that GG are in 3rd place and they really want to contend for the top 3 or at least stay there. But I really hope that Gainer and his teammates can somehow have enough mental fortitude and capacity to be able to overcome GG.
Understandable. And the thing is, with the team Entropy, when you have Gainer and Beva at the same team, we just interviewed the Gainer yesterday.
Yeah.
He said, I'm super ready. Thing is, all of the teams are just thinking, hey, we've won this match, we're heading and we're focusing on top 4, we're focusing on top 3, we're focusing on top 2, with different scenarios and different teams speaking. Gainer did tell us we are looking for the top 4 positions.
Yes.
And with Entropy a bit back on the standings, 5th place, they need to lock in to get this victory on Team GG. When you look at GG though, you have Spoxy and Flex. These 2 individuals are super scary to play against. I wouldn't be happy or wouldn't even think to play against them.
Yeah, I mean, having to face someone like Spoxy and his teammates, nonetheless, you're gonna need to really be able to control a lot of the sniper potential, the lurks. Their entries have been extremely strong, whether it's Flex or anyone else, you know. So I think, honestly, I would give it 2-0, but with a fighting chance. Like I think GG is gonna win.
I'm glad that you said with a fighting chance, because I'm sure it's going to be close. 40, Vice, Manison, and of course Biva and Gainer. We've seen these boys play yesterday, and they did get their hands on another win, securing the 5th place and moving to GG roster. GG are just one strong roster to speak about, kosherly.
Yeah, I mean, Entropy does have a lot of experience, including players like Vice, Madison, and so on. But GG, I just feel like, especially they won last year, the second season, if I'm not mistaken, and they have how can you say, a lot of momentum, not just momentum, like they're ready to go. And look, all smiles around for Vice and them. Everyone looks very serious. I love 40's like cheeky smile as well, and I wish them the best of luck, because they need this to maintain either their place or to push forward into the top 4. And I really think they can. You know, I'm here to be entertained, and so's the audience. So hopefully they can reach a stage where they can get the best of 3 games, since it's our last series of the day. I don't want to leave. You know what I mean?
Understand. I love the progression of the facial expressions of the different players. So it's the 10 players starts with the smiles.
Of course.
After the first map, some teams just like poker face, and after the 3rd map, even if you reach the 3rd map, some are just mad and some are just continuous happy. Anyways, moving down to the map V2, there is a ban on Eagle Eye, and if you know something about Eagle Eye, you know something about GG. They always love to pick Eagle Eye, picked by GG Port, and Subbase is picked by Entropy, heading to a decider map of Mexico. We rarely see Mexico.
I mean, Mexico has been banned, I don't know the exact number, but probably 90% of the time.
Thousands of times.
From my analysis, it's simply because it's not a map that everyone's comfortable playing on, you know what I mean? Nonetheless, so they're scared to challenge other teams, whether high or low rank. That can cause them some issues in this best of 3.
Yep, Manison, Vice, 40, Biva, and Gainer, Flex, Zane, Lion Cloud, Ruffin, and of course the man, the myth, the legend, Spoxy. We've seen a lot from these boys, and here's a final last peek throughout these boys. You said you predicted yourself 2-0.
I really think it's gonna be a 2-0, but it's not gonna be gapped. You know, I think I've seen Entropy. They have some decent games in the previous weeks. Whether it's a win or a loss, I think they're all well-rounded players, and they can definitely challenge GG in this series.
I mean, looking after reviewing the map V2, I think we can go to a 3rd map.
I hope so.
I think Entropy did great within the map V2, banning Subbase from Team GG, and with just the luck of Biva and Gainer and how they did play yesterday, I think they have higher chances, but I think overall the games would be likely moving towards GG, whether it was the first or the second game.
Yeah, and I love how GG's cameras are always like so close, you know, like I feel like I
they
can
are
feel
one with the
heat,
screen.
you know, I can feel the heat from themselves, from their room coming through into the studio. But I mean, I don't want to over exaggerate when it comes to GG's performance, being ex LCK and very strong players, but at the same time, Entropy does have a lot of experienced players, especially like you always highlight, which is 40. And I really think 40 can help achieve that, especially in the first game. First game can decide a lot, but Entropy, if they coincidentally happen to win first game, they cannot just assume that GG's gonna give up. We saw the other day when Flex was having disconnection issues and stuff. Like, he came back the next match and destroyed.
It feels like his
the
disconnection is, and technically it's like charging his final form of unleashing his gameplay, his best gameplay. So he starts with some technical issues here and there, and then he's unleashed with 25 or 26 kills, and that's always what happens with Flex.
Exactly.
The thing is with Ruffin, he's known for his clutches. Learn Clo is the guy we always interview because he's the MVP over and over again. Design is known for his rifle gameplay. So GG, I do agree when you say you think it's 2-0. I just hope that we see at least an upset from Entropy or one close map from them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want the day to end, neither does anyone else, I'm pretty sure, because
Exactly.
at the end of the day, let's just say we're halfway through the series in Crossfire West, and I think the next few weeks are going to decide a lot. And if I'm not mistaken, strategically speaking, most of the coaches, if not just the players, have played one map consistently well and the other not so much. So they've had the time to study and discuss and reach a point where they can comfortably be able to contest teams at any map, you know?
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see. I wish both Entropy and Gaming Gladiators best of luck. We'll take it away to our casters. Thank
Let's
you.
go.
All right, it's time for the final matchup of the weekend. Gaming Gladiators looking to get themselves a potential win on the board here, but Entropy looking good on the weekend, I would say, so far. This is a team that they are a little bit hot and cold. You have a lot of players that I would say are a bit more inconsistent on this side of the field, but they're kind of that team, if you're not fully ready for them, they'll catch you off guard. So I hope GG's ready to go here.
Yeah, most definitely. Entropy yesterday, their game against TBI was a pretty interesting one, a fairly close game that went 2-1. A lot of that off of the back of Gainer. He had a fantastic day yesterday. I think he's going to need to follow suit with that again today because Gaming Gladiators, in my opinion, a much more difficult opponent here for Entropy than what TBI was yesterday. And Gaming Gladiators have been looking pretty damn good so far this week. They've had a pretty comfortable win over TBI. And yesterday, they also had a comfortable win over 999, both of whom are not the most dangerous of opponents, let's say. But overall, pretty solid performances from GG so far this week. And I don't imagine that will change up. I'm calling a 2-0 right here. We'll see how things play out. Gainer, the man of the moment, the one I was talking about, starting the proceedings with a nice kill onto Dezane. It ends up being a 2-for-1 exchange as Raymond make their way into A, though Lionclaw pegging one back before he gets the bomb plant down, has made this a little bit tighter, and it's now down to just Vise and 40 to try and make this retake happen for Entropy.
Yeah, Lionclaw kind of the key in this position. He's very low on HP, but if he can somehow find a kill, it puts Spoxy in the perfect position to maybe grab around Lionclaw. Good for actually both kills there with just 10 HP to work with. That is a huge round to hold on to start this one off. And honestly, a bit of a misplay coming out from Entropy. That should have been a super easy trade, but they just had a tiny bit of separation, and that cost them quite a bit.
Yeah, talk about spacing. It's one of the fundamentals of a TAC FPS, and something that I think a lot of teams can take a look at here in the CFWL and improve upon in some ways. Either way, though, Gaiman just picked up one round, so it's not the end of the world. We're not getting too far ahead of ourselves just yet. Entropy run it back and see if they can try to defend what ends up being a push in through from Wood here for Gaiman. It ends up with a 2-for-1 again, the start, but quickly starting to fall by the wayside for Gaming Gladiators as they do end up losing all 5 players in pretty quick succession. So quick round out there, quick response as well from Entropy. We're back to 1-1.
Yeah, really solid decision there, knowing there might be another aggressive play to put those 2 players on the upper A control room and really just set up a nice little pinch play. And the trap worked quite well there. So at this point, it's really going to be up to Entropy to keep trying to find those kind of predictive moments, I think, because that's where Gaming Gladiators might struggle a little bit in this series. I feel like individual firepower is the edge for GG, but when it comes to strategy, you've got some pretty brilliant minds on the side of Entropy that have a good read on the game, and I'm hoping they can take full advantage of that. And already here in round number 3, you are going to see Beva get the early kill on Dezane. Spoxy goes down to a nice little angle there from Gainer, and so far, the individual plays in this round not working out the best for GG.
Gainer fragging again. And now Manison's turn. He's not going to be able to quite grasp that one on the Lionclaw as he just gets swung at Wood. 40 now trying to do that duty and we'll lock it down. No real problem for Entropy in this round either. Raffin with the 1v4 as a task ahead of him, which feels fairly insurmountable.
Yeah, it is going to be a bit of a tough one here, especially considering there's not a whole lot of forward presence he can look to for a pick. Entropy playing pretty safe on the back side of the map. You can see Raffin slowly sneaking his way towards the A-bomb side. It's going to be Beva playing it down low. 40 on the quick play from above. Raffin needs to win this fight quickly to have a fighting chance. Actually gets the first kill right away, so now there's nobody else directly on the bomb side here. Vise is already under 10 HP, so it can be a winnable situation if they happen to give him a couple more 1v1s.
Got to get off the site, though. That's the main thing here. And he's going to go back into the stack of 2 players. Oh, no, he didn't know that 40 was maybe still up in the window. Either way, he was cooked. Gainer will catch up with him, and apparently Gainer is just having a bit of a week right now because he's continuing to impress me. Good attempt from Raffin, though. Gaiman needs to find a way to start making some inroads on this Blacklist side, because if you end up letting a half really blow out on a map like Subbase, it's not really the kind of map that like leans super hard one direction. So you're not able to go, oh, okay, you know, we've got 2 or 3 rounds in this first half. That's going to be enough, right? Like you know you're in for a tough half in the second half in that case. So Gaiman want to make sure they don't let Entropy get too far ahead here.
It's going to be a quick push onto A. Beva, stuck in the corner, goes down pretty quickly. Spoxy and Flex able to clean things up on the rotation into side as well. 40 holding on to this off angle, but Flex is right there on the other side of it. A good nade gives them the opportunity to pinch the final 2 players and tie this one right back up. And those are the kind of pushes I think we need to see a little bit more from Game and Gladiators. Sometimes they rely a little bit too much on these early round picks, but when they push coordinated as a full team, they are very hard to shut down.
That I can agree with. Gonna split up once again here. Flex with the job of just keeping Vise busy in the locker room. Bit of a wayward nade there from Vise. Not a big concern, though. And now it's time for Gaiman to have a look into Wood. There's no one there to defend right now from Entropy. They're a little bit more interested in the B hole, the mid hole. Smoke's going to come through, but it's way too late to stop Raffin, who is on a mission. He's looking for some entries, and he's not quite going to find them. Madison actually getting one, and then Dana in for a couple. Flex has a very long, prolonged spray, but the pistol comes out as well. He's surely not expecting another player in the vent here. That would be unreasonable. Vise, however, has dropped out of the vent, and now Flex is watching. Oh, the timing was so sad. Vise was so close to picking one up, but just couldn't get there quickly enough, and now it's a 2v1, and Spoxy's going to make no mistake. So quickly, Gaiman back in the lead.
Yeah, those are the rounds you really have to look out for. I mean, a quick 2v4 just thanks to Flex getting the good timing and the positioning to find those kills, and Entropy just being a little bit late on that vent lurk cost them so much in that round. So now GG, they're in the driver's seat here. Flex gets the opener, takes down Gainer, a very crucial pick considering how impactful he's been. Flex as well takes down 40 on the back of the cage, and this is where they have to find something here, but Flex, he's come full force into this round. Good for a 4K already, single-handedly dismantles the defense, and Raffin cleans it up.
Take that. 4-2. Now it's starting to blow out in the other direction. Not too long ago, it was 2-1 favoring Entropy, but Gaiman have started to flex their muscles. Vise is thinking about doing something tricky through this smoke. It'll be a good thing that he's decided not to.
Yeah, right now for Entropy, it almost feels like they're scared to make an aggressive move, but that's what worries me for them on Subbase. This is a map where you cannot play scared on the GR side. You've got to know when to take a risk and be able to do those plays, like pushing into the control room a little bit, taking that lobby control away from the BL side, because if you give them this much space, GG, if you give them that lobby control, they're such a good team at collapsing onto either side once they have that lobby control. So Beva, he knows he needs an opening, but he's not going to find it. Raffin immediately gets the pick, is able to take control of the lower bomb site. Madison, And Gainer from above, able to answer back with 2 kills here, going the way of Entropy. So now there's at least a fighting chance, but Spoxy, he's looking to try and hang on. Gainer good for another shot, though, takes him down on the back of the missile.
Yeah, the problem is the C4 is in the A site, so Gaiman essentially forced to go in that direction. He could have slowed down and waited for the team a little bit, and that's exactly what Lionclaw is going to do. He knows that Flex is on the long flank, and there is time to allow that to play out. I'm actually going to decide to group up together, which I'm not as much of a fan of, to be honest with you. I think in a situation like this, 2 players coming from the same direction into 4 is more or less like coming into a firing squad. But if you can both sit out on the extremities, win a 1v1 each, then it all of a sudden comes back to a 2v2. Yeah, however, though, everyone from Entropy just having a look in one direction, and they make that round look pretty easy in the end.
Yeah, not too bad there from Entropy, doing what they needed to secure those early trades and put that nice pressure on the A bomb side. This time, though, Vise playing with fire there. Almost goes down to Spoxy on that early peak. Instead, he's going to sneak himself on top of the quad boxes here. It's a nice position, but once you're caught, it's very hard to get out of safely. So he's going to go ahead and try and leave, but there's no opportunity there. Flex takes him down early. Now they've lost control essentially over the B-bomb side, aside from Gainer playing that solo anchor on the front wall. And this is going to be the opportunity now to rotate. But Madison, he's pushed up on the double doors, so he's got a chance to maybe shut down this rotation if he can find the right timing. But he actually backs off here, and it actually is going to be the worst possible moment. He rounds the corner, and just like that, GG's there on the other side of it, pushing through into the A-bomb side. 40 goes down to the lurk as well. At least Flex only going to be a one-and-done situation for him, but that may not matter because the rest of GG is just fully set up already on the A-bomb side.
Yep, nice work from Raffen. Great round from him. A great map so far. 8-5 alongside Flex. He's been the performer. Madison, not going to have a fun time there at all. So Gaming Gladiators maintain their lead, and just as Entropy think they're starting to get back into the rounds and the half, the scoreline blows back out to 5-3, maybe even a 6th here for Gaming. That'd be what they're looking for out of this first half. That would be an extremely successful Blacklist side. But Flex goes solo into A, and he'll lose his duel, so they're going to have to do it with just the 4.
Yeah, for Entropy, this is a must-win round here. They can't afford to let it slip. If it's a 6-3 half, it does not look good for them going into the second. But a one-round game, a lot more manageable, and this is where these B players are going to have to hold the line. You've got Vise and 40 looking to try and lock it down. Vise playing up in the rafters here, trying to get that early information. Spoxy wants to take the fight onto 40, misses the shot. 40 missing as well on his side of it, and now they're looking for the repeat. See Spoxy through the edge of the smoke, able to find Gainer. That's a huge pick to open up this bomb site. There's still Vise and 40 to deal with on the back wall, but the lurk is already in position now as well. Lioneclaw trying to get his way in. 40, I'm surprised he didn't take the shot there onto Raffen. Lets him jump over the boxes, and now the smoke screen allows the space for GG to work their way through here, and the flashes are going to be that much more devastating to deal with as Lionclaw sneaks into the edge of this smoke. These players are completely surrounded. They don't seem too sure about that. Vise now goes for the peak. They get the information, but this is actually going to be a full fake here. They're starting to back off.
Well, Spoxy, he's keeping an eye on things. He wants to find himself a pick. In the end, it'll be Dezane, who was actually kind of covering for Spoxy, that gets that opening pick, but eventually Spoxy will get his man as well. Oh, he's gone forward for another. Never spotted out. Nice patience displayed by Gaiman in the last round of that half, and they do get it over the line. So I would say pretty solid first half there from Gaiman Gladiators.
Yeah, really solid performance, especially the composure in that final round to just go for that double fake and recommit onto the bomb site. I really like that play call, just waiting to see how anxious Entropy was going to play, and they read them quite well. Now Raffen, he's in the light boost here. I like the spot. It's not something a lot of teams do consistently, so you've got to be careful and make sure to check this going in, but I'm not sure if Entropy even wants to go for the fight this early on. They're hoping there's an early aggressive challenge going their way, but with a 6-3 lead, Game Gladiators doesn't have to take too many risks just yet. They can kind of wait back and put even more pressure onto Entropy, because one thing I've noticed is Entropy, when they have to make an aggressive decision, that's when they tend to make a lot of mistakes here. And Raffin, he almost catches one of those mistakes. Actually going to be Vise getting caught early here, has to back off, and now Raffin's able to reposition.
Patience of virtue, as we saw in that previous round for Game Gladiators, but this time they're now on to the GR side. And maybe I thought for a second Flex was going to go up the stairs there, but deciding to just tuck inside the corner at the bottom of the stairs instead. Raffin now looking to hold on to Lockers. He's done a pretty damn good job there. He's got 1 kill plus a lot of damage onto Beva. We'll say he's got his HP's worth of damage, then some. Overall, a favorable exchange, but a 1-for-1 is still nonetheless not too bad for Entropy. Won't be a 1-for-1 for too much longer, though, as Spoxy now starts to really get involved in this game. I feel like he's been maybe a little bit slow to start, but he's definitely having an impact now. So 2 is 40. The Orms ringing out across the sub-base. Lex going to shut this one down. He's going to go early in front of his teammates' rotation, but it won't matter as he wins the duel anyway. Game Gladiators now up to 7. He's starting to make this look like a fairly dominant display.
Yeah, I mean, for Entropy, this is the big challenge for them. It always has been. It's that BL side. They seem to have this difficulty applying pressure as a full team, and it's such a hard map to do that on as well. So for GG, they can just keep playing this one nice and safe. I don't think there's any issue if they don't go for the control plays here, because Entropy, that's kind of their only win condition, is catching people early. If they don't have that on the full execution, they just don't seem in sync enough to take it. So Madison, you can see already struggling in the early round here. He's down to 11, 40 down to half, and this is where Entropy need to make a decisive move. They're starting to group up a little bit towards the A-bomb side, but they still have 3 players here to deal with, and not a whole lot of ground to work with so far.
Raffin loves this position. Seen him playing it a little bit this week. So it's got to be something that Entropy are prepared for. Now I'm going to make their way into lockers. Let's see what Raffin can get done here. He is pretty much the only defender on B. So this round rests on his shoulders. It's just going to be the one. Although there was a kill on the other side of the map, and Spoxy's come quickly across into jail. He can now spot the site, allow the rotations to come through for the rest of his team. And frankly, I think that was a little bit too clean from Game Gladiators.
Yeah, honestly, just super clean on the rotations, but a lot of it's thanks to the 2 flex players, Spoxy and Raffin. They're just so quick at the repositions here. You can see with Raffin and Blight just doing well in the previous round. This time, though, another one and done from the lockers for him. Smoke screen's going to come down, but kind of wasting time here on the side of Entropy. They could have taken more space by now, but instead they're waiting for the lurk, and that's going to be Gainer on the drop down in vents. He's able to sneak into the back of Cage and does have a chance here. Catches one off guard. It's going to be Spoxy going down. Vise getting the other entry on to Flex, but it's not over just yet. They've got to be careful here because Lion Claw is still going to be looking for this round along with Desane on the rotation, but Lion Claw goes down 1v3 in front of Desane. He's already been spotted by 2 as well, and it's all going to come down to the wide swing. 40 gets it done.
Yep. The victory is still pretty close to the grasp of Game Gladiators, but no closer as a result of that last round. Foxy setting himself up at wood. Obviously a critical position for the sniper player at the start of any round on Subbase, and this time Gainer gets a little bit too antsy. Gets some ants in his pants, apparently, and he just wants to be moving and shaking, and unfortunately he's walked right into the crosshair of Spoxy. Now it's on to Desane, who gets the early info that there's an A-hit happening. His team not there in time to help him out, unfortunately, but Flex still can get that work done himself. Only the 1-for-1. Still got Spoxy up in the window to deal with, and Spoxy is the one that is going to be able to start sealing the deal for Game Gladiators in this round.
1-on-3 now for 40. The C4 dropped on the back missile as well. Makes this a very, very tough situation to fight his way out of, especially now with the forward position from Lionclaw. He's got no idea. Gets the reaction shot, but the trade right there. GG moves to a map point now. They've got 5 opportunities to close out this one without too much risk here. And it hasn't seemed to be too much of a struggle for them, but they're going to go aggressive anyways to try and push this one across the line. It's a control room push from 3 players on GG to get it started, but I like the call from Entropy. Instead, they double back in the opposite direction. They take control of the upper A bomb site, but Flex somehow able to get one before going down. Could be enough to stall for the rotation here. Spoxy finds 40 as well, quickly moving into position. Can he get the reaction shot onto Madison, though? Not quite. Trade needs to be there. Raffin able to find it, and now it is all on to Vise and Beva, the last hope in this map. But Beva, he's held on for now, finds himself 2 Lionclaw, now left alone in the 1-on-2.
Vise knows that Lionclaw is pretty close, but Lionclaw is just going to try and catch up with him. There's position. Ultimately, not done yet. It was a pretty unreasonable shot from Flex, though, wasn't it? Thought he was a dead man. Just out in no man's land, but did well to go 1 for 1. Again, Spoxy will set up at wood again. Gainer thinking about having a crack in through the doors there. He's been spotted out now. Flex chiming in with 1. Spoxy unable to land his shot, but 2 Orms is not the kind of thing that I'd like to be challenging. Nade's going to get tossed on through. Flex down in the end, caught by a grenade on the way out.
Yeah, it's a tough round now. Spoxy's well down to 3 HP. Needs to have to play a little bit more reserved and rely on the rifles to open up this one if they want to get aggressive. You can see Dezane and Lionclaw looking to maybe get some early picks going for them towards the A double doors, but the rotation already starting to happen from Entropy. Puts the pressure back towards Raffin on this B anchor position. He's been pretty good at guaranteeing at least 1 on it, but this could be a round where he needs to find a little bit more.
Playing the pivot position. Nade out at the wrong time. Could be awkward. All managing to get his 1. Whereas Raffin needs to get involved in this fight. Zane is doing it. Oh, never mind. It's over in the blink of an eye. Gaming Gladiators have finished off map number 1. 10-5. It's a decisive score and a good start to the series, and potentially a good finish to the week as well for Gaming Gladiators.
Yeah, really solid performance on map number 1. It's going to make that series a lot harder to push back for Entropy. I had my fingers crossed, though. I really want to see a Mexico. I haven't got to see one yet this series, but after a map like that, it's hard to believe we might see a map 3 in the series because everyone across the board really just brought their A game for GG.
Most definitely. I liked what I was seeing from Gaming Gladiators as well. It's like I said, they've been looking pretty solid throughout this week. I thought yesterday even they were a little bit up and down in that game against 999. I thought they were kind of like taking some liberties. Today, though, it looks like they're just properly locked in. So I feel as though we're probably going to get a 2-0, but we'll see what the desk thinks about that one. So get back to you guys when we're ready for map number 2. But for now, the desk.
I mean, what a performance by GG, to say the least. You know, I got to witness some rounds firsthand, and I think across the board there were great KDAs, very, very strong on both sides, even though the second side didn't get to see that much because of the scoreline, but nonetheless...
I have to give it to you, by the way. I have to give it to you. You did say it's going to be a close match at least, but at the end of the day, Team GG would get the win, and they made half of the mission. They did get their hands on the first one, and the first map is the most important map since it's not picked by them, but it's picked by the other team, Team Entropy. But let's give some credits to Entropy, where Gainer and Beva did shine and did show up, and a lot of kills were shown, at least at the start of the game, by them. Obviously, it was a back-and-forth game until we are on the 5th round, until Beva and 40 stopped getting them kills, and all switched, and the script flipped to GG's side. Shining, of course, is the one and only Spoxy with the sniper. Flex did shine, and they did play the double sniper in some rounds. Flex did shine.
That's kind of the meta, right?
Yeah, it is. And at the end of the day, it's not a map thing, because it's more of a I am the better team thing. I am the better individual, or maybe it's not even an individual thing. It's a whole team thing. If you can say Flex, Design, Learn, Close, Foxy, and Ruffin, all of these players can carry their own weight in different scenarios and different positions at the end of the day. They are the players that you can put and trust in a 1v3 or even a 1v2 situation without having a doubt that they would lose a crucial round for you. A 10-5 score is not the biggest gap, yet it's a gap that can tell you that yes, we did our side of a mission in a map picked by Entropy.
I mean, definitely, you can tell that GG has played this map before, regardless, and you can tell, what's it called, like, man, I don't know, whenever I see Lion Claw or Spoxy in a clutch, just like Kyle said, fingers crossed, and you're hoping to, like get a clutch or something, but nonetheless, GG, I'm pretty sure, just outmaneuvered Entropy, and they did play it extremely well, they rotated, there was a lot of patience, composure, and skill. Like, the demanded skill to win a game like this is present.
I think GG for me is like Rocky Esports, the level of communication and level of chemistry between them, especially in the clutch situation. You did say, when Spoxy is with Flex, Spoxy is with Design, you have your finger crossed, and you have to pray for the other team, whether it was Entropy, Rock, or Anubis, or any other team, because they understand each other subconsciously. They know the next move for them. It's the amount of times that they did play together in such scenarios that makes them invincible to any eliminations or invincible to any other teammate. I think GG is climbing slowly, and I'm just waiting for them on the playoffs to see see GG play against Anubis, Rock, and the other teams on the top 4.
Yeah, I mean, the playoffs are there for a reason, right? Because at in that scenario and how that bracket works is, I'm pretty sure it's a best of 5, right?
Yeah.
So best of 5 means that it just becomes way more mentally challenging and strainful. That you can win one or two games back to back and have that momentum. But if it ends up 2-2, the last game is going to be like a crazy decider. If you think about it, it's going to be very, very, very challenging, And I think GG does have that mental fortitude. And I don't want to say Entropy doesn't, but based on the results that we're seeing right now, Entropy does need to step up their game, even though they're playing decent. But I think they're just getting outmatched by GG.
They are playing decent, as you said, but jumping into Subbase and jumping into port, and seeing the previous results, the way that Team GG did play on port a couple of times, it's just so comfortable for Team GG to secure this 2-0, as you said before. But again, it's the names from Entropy that scares the most of the audience, the most of the Team GG. Just watching Beva and Gainer over and over again clutching makes them in a not the most what's the word, crucial situation or place, but just make them stay as they are. I'm just hoping for a third game. I'm hoping, but I know I'm just coping with how it is, and I don't want the day to end, but still. Team GG, if it's port, then it's a GG for Team Entropy.
I mean, I have to agree, man. Let's be realistic. Entropy, they have an amazing roster. I'm a big fan of all the players nonetheless, but GG is bringing the heat, and the fact that they are, it's making it more challenging for Entropy and the opponents of future matches with GG, just because they're not top, GG is top 3, but that doesn't mean they don't deserve the top 1 place.
Mm-hmm. I'm super excited to see GG though against the new Anubis, and saying new meaning the previous Anubis.
Prime Anubis.
Prime Anubis.
I agree.
And Knights just so there also Rock Esports with their comeback tonight. Lots of teams to witness, man. This is something that I love and adore about this league. It's just getting better day by day, and the progression of the teams itself is just mesmerizing to see. And with a team like GG, man, it's just getting heated day by day.
And I don't know, man. Like, I feel like it's really not gonna be a best of three, sadly, because
no, this
just
series, no.
looking at the numbers and looking at the players from GG, you can tell they're prepared. They're hungry for this, and they're more than willing to invest in the second game as well, and not really having to show all their cards or their plays, if you get my point. But
They do.
nonetheless, we've been surprised before, right? And maybe Entropy pulls through and gets us the best of three. We'll have to wait and see.
Thing is, with Entropy, they do play good as a team. Individual-wise, Leon Close always backstabbing the boys. Design is always able to clutch. So it all comes down to the individual themselves. I think from Team GG, they are slightly better than Entropy's. You can just tell them the 1v3 clutches, and you already said it yourself. When Spoxy and other teammate, it's doomed for the other team, because one, they are good together and the chemistry is high. Second, if leave Spoxy alone with a sniper, it's done for the other team. He knows how to get his hands on a first blood. He knows how to start a round in the 4v5 situation, and he also knows how to clutch the round and not only plan the C4, but able to get the round in their pockets.
Yeah, and we did highlight this in previous broadcasts that the ARM players are exceptional, and if you manage to get a kill in like 30 seconds into the round, it just puts your opponent at a disadvantage. We'll have to wait and see. I'll send it to our casters, and best of luck to both teams.
Well, after a tough first map, we'll see if Entropy can bounce back here on Port. I'm hopeful that at least put up a better fight here, because it looked pretty one-sided in map number 1, but I guess looking at this one, do you have any faith that there is a potential for a map 3 on the horizon?
You've really set me up for it, Kyle. You've really done me, because you know exactly the kind of person that I am. I'm not going to beat around the bush. And my answer to you is an unequivocal no. I don't think Entropy are pulling this one back here, quite frankly. The one thing that is going to benefit them here on Port is that they are starting on the GR side, so the scoreline may end up being a little bit closer than if it were the other way around. But if we see Game and Gladiators do well in this first half, we go into the second half with Spoxy and Flex being able to pick up the Orb on this map on the GR side. I don't think Entropy is going to be getting much done, but we'll see. Gainer off to a nice start here. Will be taken down by Flex, who's going to push his way forward and look for more. Not a particularly decisive round to kick things off for Game and Gladiators, but it will not change my opinion of the situation.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a tough road ahead. Even with the GR side up early, it's going to be up to them to have a really big first half to get any sort of luck in this one, because I know Entropy, they're a team, once they get to the BL, they struggle quite a bit. So I would say they need at least 6 rounds this half to have a chance at winning this map, maybe even more to get it across the line, whereas GG, they're going to be playing very aggressive in this one, just hopefully not too aggressive after how decisive that first map has been. That's the one thing with Game and Gladiators that you kind of have to look out for. They're a team that tends to play a little bit too overconfident at times after coming off of a big win. So that's where I want to see them show a little bit more composure here, because Entropy is that team where the second you start to underestimate them, they can still start stacking rounds.
That's true. Cayman are going to take it a little bit slower this time around. Not Flex, though. He's just probing in through middle, and he won't quite manage to make it work. He did almost get out there. Cayman, I'm kind of glad to see them not pushing through this smoke, because look at the setup that Entropy have got. That would have been a mistake from Game and Gladiators. Raffin, though, late on the lurk into B. This could be interesting. I don't mind this. It's been left more or less kind of open by Entropy. Gainer having a bit of a peek through the window. You got Madison coming up back across. I still think they're going to end B. C4's dropped on that side of the map. 50 seconds left to go. They've got no info on A at all. They're just trying to find that opening that's going to let them get into B. 1-for-1 there for Lion Force. Not quite enough, but Raffin! Oh, almost lined up the double. I thought he was going to get it. Still, the trade was good. Plant is now on offer, though. Entropy trying to get in front of that, and they're going to run right into Spoxy and Dezane. So Gaiman will pull back the 4-on-5.
Yeah, that's a really tough round for Entropy. They had everything they needed to win that round. The big question mark for me was they pulled 3 players to cross over to the B bomb site, but then immediately just left it down to one player again and rotated those players right back out of the site. If they had left even one there, maybe that's a different situation on that forward hold, but now it's all up to a tie here, which for Gaming Gladiators on the BL side, tying is exactly where they want to be because they know what they can do when they get over on that defensive half. So for Entropy, it adds a lot of pressure in this third round to make sure they can win it. A lot of utility damage, though, being thrown down into the middle of the map. We've got Flex down to 83, Spoxy down to about 30 off that start of the round.
Still alive. That's all that really matters. He's a gun in the game, and he's a particularly potent gun on a map like this one. Game have been putting a lot of presence towards middle. Wouldn't mind see them trying an A long play at some point here. This setup looks quite good for Entropy. Vise, you'd think will probably get traded down if all three of these players have a crack, but he should be getting one or two. It's kind of like shooting fish in a barrel. That's good enough given the circumstances. And 40 lining up Lion Claw. Looking like it's going to shape up to be a pretty easy one for Entropy. Both Spoxy and Dezane stuck behind the box for the moment, but Spoxy still fighting through the flash. Catches Gainer. 40 having a crack, missing his shot. Beba is there to lock it in for his team, and Entropy will hold on to the lead.
Yeah, not a bad round at all. A lot of good rotational support. You've got Beva as well, 6-1, having a really good start to the second map, and hopefully they can keep up that kind of pacing, but they've got to be careful for these B aggressive plays. This is where GG can really hit their stride, and already it's going to be a nice one on the board, but Beva, 3 kills in a row to answer back. Flex wants to still spoil the fun, though. It's 2 of his own. Vise and 40 left to pick up the pieces, but Vise, this could be some pretty good timing here, but does he know Flex? He's still underneath. He's going to go ahead and check it. Takes it down to the 2-on-1. Now Raffin left with a clutch opportunity.
Raffin the type of guy to do it, I'll be honest with you. 40 just having a little bit of a look in the middle there, but now does just get that timing right, actually, because he had the backup. The trade was in for Entropy. Decent effort from Raffin. Attempt from Spoxy as well, but this needed to be traded better. Beba can't be allowed to get away with 3 there. Even if Flex is going to come back through with 2 himself, it's not as clean as it needs to be at the moment for GG.
Yeah, for Gaming Gladiators, I think the big thing here is just getting a little bit better spacing on their pushes, and then they'll be in pretty good shape, but a lot of it becomes the challenge of having 2 OMs on the aggressive side as well is very difficult if you're not getting an opening pick before pushing through. It relies on them playing some of these more uncomfortable close quarters situations with the OM in hand, and that's where we've seen a bit of a hit and miss performance across the board, but you've also got some of the rifling core not living up to expectations so far either on the second map for GG, so we'll see what changes come to life here as this one continues, but this time it is going to be a bit of a mid-aggressive play from GG. They've got 4 players pushed up and ready to go. Manison playing the lower B tunnels on the close connector here, just waiting to see if that peak comes through, but the timing could actually work out perfectly if they go for this boost over the mid-bridge, and look at this exposure from Entropy. You've got 2 players who can kind of just peek over the top of mid now and hold on to it for GG, and that is a lot of information to work with.
Yep. Gaiman definitely pressuring. Gainer has spotted them out, though. And it is feeling a little one-dimensional at times at the moment on this Blacklist side from Gaiman. They have tried this push in through mid multiple times, and it has not been working. Entropy reading them pretty nicely at the moment. This GR side is starting to look quite solid. Gaiman need an inroad. They need it soon. Going to come from Lionclaw or Dezane. Someone finding an entry over onto B. It's certainly not Lionclaw, but Dezane and Raffin will get the job done. 3-on-3 for Postman, but it's a fast flank in here from Entropy, and Spoxy was not prepared for them quite so quickly. The plan didn't go down either, so time working against Gaiman as well. I think they've got to shelve this mid-push, Carl. I think they've tried it a few too many times. I think it's becoming predictable. I want to see them try something different at the start of the round.
Yeah, right now the biggest struggle has been the fight in mid. The B tunnels, though, pretty challenging as well. Spoxy not hitting the shots we're used to seeing in this direction, and This is where I almost hope they go for a bit of a late A play. I think that's where they might have a bit better success here. They've got the change up as well in this round. Flex tries to pull out the M4. Not going to find anything out of it. Again, 3 rounds now. Flex getting caught first on the mid-bridge. Getting a bit too overzealous on these pushes has cost them so much in what should be a pretty good map for them. It's not looking good at all on this BL side.
Well, Spoxy waiting for the opportunity to pull this one back to a 4v4, but it's not going to be presented by Entropy. I like the way that they're playing this side as well. You know, they get that opening kill a lot of the time, and again, by the way, it was in mid. And then they're not over-aggressing. They're not doing anything too silly. They're just happy to play out the 5v4, trust in their side holds. So Entropy have a lot of positive things to say about them at the moment, and I can't unfortunately say the same for Gaiman. This Blacklist side, like I've reiterated, is looking a little one-dimensional. This we've seen from 4 from Vice, but playing a little bit of a different angle. Will be traded back in, though, by Lion Claw, but it's early information and a 1-for-1, so not too bad for Entropy still.
Yeah, the numbers advantage still going to be held by the defending team here, but for GG, they're running out of opportunities to get these Blacklist rounds. A 5-1 lead for Entropy would be massive to kick off this map with Gainer. That is an unfortunate miss. Now he has to try and play his cards right for the aggressive play. He's going to go ahead and find it. Madison there to make it happen, and this is where things look pretty good. Unless Lion Claw can find a way to shut it down with Dezane, but Madison right there again to make things happen, and Entropy, they're doing everything they need to try and press forward to a map 3.
Yeah, this was not exactly what I expected. Then again, you know, you really only need to see another couple of rounds out from Gaiman, so it's definitely not the end of the world, but there's still some inroads to be made on this Blacklist side. And time is starting to run out for them. If not now, then when? Are they really going to be able to pull back? Let's say this goes 7-2. Are they going to be able to pull it back from a 7-2? I don't know, Kyle. I have a lot of faith in their GR side, but that's a pretty tough ask.
Yeah, it's a tough position to be in because they do have one of the better GR sides I've seen on this map, but the way they're playing right now, it just doesn't feel like they're very cohesive in their setups. A lot of individual performances trying to get the job done, but not finding it. I think the biggest thing, though, is they've got to reel it in with Flex. He's been caught early. I believe 4 out of the 6 rounds, he was the first player to die for them, just getting way too aggressive and not really finding anything out of it. So if they can find a way to keep him for the late game, that adds a lot of value to what they can do on the post plant, because he is a very smart player in those clutch situations to have around. And I do like this call, more of a contact B type of strategy being implemented for GG, and it's going to be an opportunity to maybe catch Beva off guard here. He needs the flashbang, needs to find some damage. He does quite a bit, but there's no kills either way just yet. The utility might get the job done. No, Raffin, not sure why he jumps that high over the top, but it doesn't matter. Lion Claw and Raffin, they're able to hold on with the nade kill and the secondary trade, but 40 and Gainer, they're coming back, swinging into this bomb site. Gainer goes for the jump shot, and 40 is there to help make sure they get the kills secured, and this is looking really good for Entropy now.
Yeah, just not coming together at all for Game and Gladiators. Maybe a timeout on the cards, to be honest. You're now in the position where you actually need to win out the half, get the 6-3 to have any sort of conversation going into this second, but they haven't called for it. Still feeling confident, maybe. I don't know. Spoxy opens the account this time around, and Flex just charging his way forward. Madison definitely not expecting that. Lucky to be alive, frankly. I think the shots haven't really been on point either for Game and Gladiators on this Blacklist side either. They haven't necessarily always been in bad positions, but they haven't been able to convert on a lot of positions that they've had. So maybe that's the argument here for Gaiman, that they're like, okay, well, we're still kind of like getting onto the sites. We're in positions where we could win from, but we just need to hit our shots, guys. And try it again. Out onto the B bomb site. Gainer will go down quickly. Madison dropping as well. And this one absolutely has to be going the way of Gaming Gladiators. They will surely at least get themselves 2.
Yeah, at this point, Vi's and 40. There's not a whole lot they're going to be able to do, especially with the utility remaining on the field for GG, and this should be it here. 1 versus 5 for 40. He's just stuck behind a wall of utility. GG just pre-firing him down to 4 HP as well, so it is going to net them a second round on the board here. You can see 40, I think, just taking the time to talk through with his team what they want to do next and how they want to make sure they get that 7th round, because that's the decisive factor, I think, at this point. If you can somehow walk away with a 7-round half on the GR, it gives you that potential cushion they're going to need going into a much harder side of the map for themselves. But I actually think if GG can somehow get a 3-round finish to this half, it's not actually that bad for them.
No, I agree. But getting this 3rd round may be easier said than done if they end up deciding to go A. There's a lot of players here to defend. Rappen hasn't checked that corner. And Vi's will make him pay for that. Madison, in the meanwhile, also picked up Flex. There's so much damage done. Gaming are not getting 3, Kyle. I can tell you that for free. They're going to get 2 only. And that is going to take a massive comeback on the GR side.
Yeah, this is a tough one now for GG. They're a team that could do it on the GR, but they're going to need to bring everything they've got to make this one happen, because Entropy, that is a really good first half, but also for Entropy, I know for a fact this is one of the weaker BL teams in the league, and that's where they've got to show us still a big half, because as much as they looked good on the GR side, this is still far from over in my eyes. Until they can show they can do it on this side of the map, it's going to be GG feeling confident until they've been shut down.
Right. First round is going to be an important one, though. As you say, Entropy need to show us that they can do it on this blacklist side. So if they could do it in the first round, you get that confidence going early on in the piece. The longer this would blow out, then it starts to become a question mark. For now, though, a slow approach from both teams. Gaiman setting up towards middle. They do have Spoxy watching on A. Lion Claw floating across there as well on the timing. This looks like a pretty good timing from him. I think he might have spotted him out. Now it's Spoxy's turn. As he just watches the long angle. Flash in over the top of middle. Aggression in there from Gaiman, but it's a bit messy all over the place. Viz and Gainer find themselves a favorable duel or two. And a pretty tough retake now is required from Gaming Gladiators. A 3v4. They just lose control of the A bomb site completely.
Yeah, it's not looking good here. Zane down to 10 HP. Raffen goes down to the wide swing, and it's all on to Zane here. 1 versus 3. No health to work with. Anything is going to take him out at this point the second he's spotted. And there you have it. Beva finds that 8th round here in Entropy. They are very, very close to getting themselves into a 3rd map here. And GG, I don't know what has gone into them, though. There's just nothing working for them on this map.
Yeah, very surprising, isn't it? And you go back to their initial matchup in this season, and Paul was a 10-3 for Gaiman. It was their map pick as well, so you imagine that they would have started off on the blacklist side there as well. It's not as if there was any funny business going on, but yeah, it's certainly not been their day today on Port. I mean, again, the map's not over, but to imagine that they can come back from an 8-2 deficit is, look, it's a lot of work to do, that's for sure. And they haven't shown us anything so far on this map that would indicate to us that they are going to be capable of it. That's the real problem for me. It's just, it's been a nothing map so far from Gaiman.
Yeah, I feel like if there was any hope, it had to be shown in this first round on the GR side. Losing that really just tees up Entropy to get the job done and take this one to a map 3. I am, however, pretty excited for what map 3 could bring. Mexico, a very unique one to have rolled up in this series, so I'm definitely excited if we go all the way to that. But GG, got to respect the timeout here and see if it's enough to maybe change the pace, because this is a team where I feel like if they recalibrate, they come out swinging in these next couple of rounds, it's still not over. A lot of other teams, I would say it's a 0% chance they win in this circumstance, but for GG, I would say there's at least still a little bit of hope left.
Yep. No, I agree. But it's going to have to be now, or it's going to be never. Can't be allowing Entropy to get up to 9. That would be too much to come back from, in my opinion. Let's see what Gaiman are going to do in terms of the setup. Not quite as much mid-presence this time around for Gaiman. But Gainer is just absolutely ruining them. Another good map from him. Flex does peg one back onto Gainer. Gives up half of his HP. In doing so, the nade stack. Ooh. I don't know how Flex has managed to survive that. They were all tossed in his direction. I don't think he even took a single point of damage from those grenades. So must have just gone whizzing past his head. That's a nice shot, though. Signs of life still there for Gaiman. Largely thanks to Flex at the moment.
It's a really good start here to the round. Beva also getting shot through the door. Takes him down to about 20. And now Entropy have to make a move. It's going to be towards the B-bomb side. It's a good call here, considering Raffin's the only player defending it. If they can find a quick trade onto him, they might have a chance to hang on and get this 9th round on the board. But Raffin is going to go for the info play, able to find himself one before the trade comes through. Menacin down to 30 off of that exchange, but there's nobody else on the B-bomb side. So 40 and Menacin, they do have that opportunity to at least get the bomb down and start the setup, but the double flank is already coming through very quickly. Flex going to cross the line fast as he can, and this is where 40 really has to hold on to this back rotation position. If he goes down, even one and done is not going to be enough here, and on top of that, they've got to deal with the lurk here. Flex working his way onto the GR spawn wall, but Lionclaw gets caught on the lead-in. That is a huge early frag going the way of 40 on the post plant. Now these last two players have to put all of the pressure on, but 40, what is that shot? The reaction to take down Flex, and now it's Spoxy with an M4 in hand. 1 versus 2, he's able to find one, needs to find them both quickly, but 40 is going to try and do the fancy footwork needed, and he will find his way into a victory on the round. 9 already for Entropy.
Yeah, wow. Pack it up, I reckon. Wrap this map up. And let's think about map number 3. Pretty sure both teams would want that at this point in time. I don't know that Gaiman really have it in them to make this grind back. So better to just get it over and done with, lose this map 10 and 2, and just sort of jump straight into map 3 rather than have a slow, long grind and then still lose the map. Because that will be worse on the mental, I imagine. They've lost Flex early on in this round. And Entropy well on their way to picking up the second map in this series. Vise not able to land too much there on a Lionclaw, who just kind of goes strafing back and forth looking for info.
At this point, GG, it might be over on this map. Raffin goes down, Lionclaw very low on HP, Dezane as well, losing a lot, and this should be it here. 4 versus 2. Spoxy and Lionclaw trying to find anything they have left, but they've already lost the B-bomb site. 40 extends deep to hold the rotation, and through the smoke, he's already able to find Spoxy. 1v4 for Lionclaw. 40 already right on the angle. Gets it done. 10 to 2. A massive second map in this series for Entropy.
Yeah, that's... I mean, I certainly wasn't expecting that. You asked me at the start of that map, Kyle, and I kind of wish you didn't, because now I've got a bit of egg on my face, but that was definitely something from Entropy that, I mean, does anyone expect that necessarily? Maybe, maybe not. Look, I think Entropy, they're not a terrible team, definitely, but they are still kind of sitting in that 6th place position, so results like this one are going to go a long way to potentially improving upon that, but now it's on Entropy to ensure that that isn't all for nothing, right? You can win map 2, and that's all well and good, but if you then go into map 3 and just get absolutely blasted by game, and it's like, well, what really was the point of that? Now they have to ensure they actually can win this next map and take something out of this series that's really going to elevate them going further forward in the final 3 weeks of the competition.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough map 3 on the horizon, though. Mexico, one of the least played maps, going to be the decider here. So both of these teams really going to have to rethink their approach, I think, going into this one, because each one of these teams had a very one-sided map go against them in this series. So I think it's truly anybody's for the taking as we look at a map 3 situation here. But I will say this map we're going into, probably the most GR-sided in the game. So it's going to be an interesting one to see unfold. But we're going to go throw it to the desk for now to break down map 2.
And we
Wow.
are back in the analyst desk, man. Like, what a game. What a well-deserved second game for Entropy.
What a surprise.
I mean, I'm a little surprised, but we did mention it before the game that Entropy is still a very, very formidable team nonetheless, and they did reach a point to be qualified for this CF West, you know, and they have before, so I don't know. I'm not surprised, actually. I'm impressed because the KDA across the board. Tell me a little bit more about the set summary, please.
Listen, man, I did expect them to get a map while you expected a 2-0. I told you, okay, maybe they would get a map. Even though I said maybe, I had some doubts that they would even get a map. But to get a map,
It's
and
10-2,
on
man.
10-2, and on GG's map, on port, 10-2. I don't know what changed. How did the scenario flip in that way? Even if the scenario did flip, I think, okay, the game might be close. And Entropy might take us to overtime. And win by milliseconds of time while the C4 and the dramatic film scenario. But no,
Yes, sir.
10-2 stomp. GG absolutely got stomped by Entropy. Who would have thought, man?
I mean, I would have thought because for many reasons, man. I have seen Entropy play in the previous weeks, and
Wow.
it's not that they were playing bad at all, actually. It was just circumstances led to their defeat at some points, and I think this time the circumstances were in their favor, you know what I mean? So they did manage to execute pretty well, and they did manage to beat GG, a very strong team, 10-2. So maybe, this is my theory, GG wanted it to go to game 3 so they can play a map that they may be more comfortable with, which is Mexico, for example. I'm not
I
sure.
mean, that's a bold assumption from your side. Not
I'm
going to lie.
guessing there's some hidden tactics, you know,
Yeah,
you
maybe,
never know.
maybe. But even if that's their plan, they wouldn't give it so easily, no? It was 10-2. And I think one of the most underrated players that's not getting enough credits is Vice from Team Entropy. The guy was clutching, him and Beva. They were just all over the map. If it was attack or defense, their name is mentioned by the casters over and over again.
Yes.
When they rotate, when they're playing defense, okay, they are pushing A side. Let's rotate. It's always Beva, Vice, Spoxy couldn't even counter these two players
He
from
tried,
team.
yeah. They managed to shut him down a little bit, I'll say. We did mention that in the beginning of game 1, is Spoxy is a very reliable player and a formidable force and
Exactly.
for GG, and they managed to smoke him out. They managed to control him a little bit in game 2 at least. I'm not sure about game 1.
Yeah.
He did perform really well in game 1. But you never know. I mean, maybe Entropy did earn it, and there is no hidden strategy, and they just played well.
Honestly, I thought if Entropy had something in their pocket or any wild card to show, it would have been shown in the first map. Their map, it's the first game, take the head start, jump with the score, but not the second map. But hey, anything can happen, as you said. Anything can happen in the CrossFire world.
Yeah, and they met their expectations, you know what I mean? And I'm excited to go into Game 3 and actually see the outcome of this best of 3 series. So I'd like to send it to our casters because I can't wait to watch this game.
All right, here we are, the final game of the weekend, and it all comes down to a Mexico finish line here between these two teams after Entropy pulling off, I would say, one of the biggest upsets on a single map we've seen in the season so far. A 10-2 over GG is something I don't think anybody would have predicted in this situation, and now they've got a golden opportunity because if you were to say, what map do you want against Game and Gladiators? I feel like for Entropy, this is a good option because it's not a map they've seen a lot in the season. There's not a lot of reps they've got against other strong teams on it, so it could be a good opportunity to potentially take this series.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I mean, I think this is one of those maps that just, it can be a bit of a wild card. It's not a map that gets played a huge amount in the West League at all. So to see it be a decider here does raise some question marks a little bit for the side of Game and Gladiators. I don't think they would have been too pleased to have actually allowed it here. Yeah, I'm not sure, though. I think Entropy, you know, they are, as you've sort of indicated, a team that is going to be able to pull off these kinds of maps here and there because they are a decent squad of players. But are they good enough to win a best of 3 against Gaiman? Well, we're about to find out. It is Gaiman that are going to start on the GR side of this map. We know it's quite a heavily GR-sided map. So the BL side is going to be tested early on for Entropy, and they've eaten quite a bit of chip damage already off of that grenade.
Yeah, this is the big test for Entropy. Mexico, very GR-sided map. You're going to have to show a lot on the BL. So far, it's not looking too hot in the first round. It's already down to 40 in the first 30 seconds, and he's going to have to find a way to clean things up. And this is where the BL side, I think, is going to be a massive challenge for Entropy. They had the luxury, I think, on port of starting on the more comfortable side here, but BL Mexico has to be one of the most uncomfortable positions, I think, in the game to play from, just because it doesn't lend itself well to having a clean execution. You've got to fight from behind. You've got to take scrappy fights to win these rounds, and you can see that's kind of where Game and Gladiators, I think, thrives as a team. So I think this is a really well-suited map for their playstyle.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a tough one for Entropy, no matter which way you sort of paint it, but it does feel like it is a winnable map. That's going to be the conversation going forward. I'm hoping that they can maybe grab 2 or 3 on this BL side, and Vise. Only he knew to pull the trigger there. A couple of players go down pretty quickly. Flex eating a lot of damage, but surviving for now. This is the part of Mexico that I'm not such a huge fan of. I know you've got a little bit of a differing opinion to me, Carly, that you don't mind a bit of Mexico here and there, but I just don't like this sit behind the smokes business for half of the round for Entropy. Obviously, on that BL side, that's kind of like what they have to do until the smokes have been cycled through for Gaiman. Then they get to do what they want. That's what's part of the reason that makes this such a hard map to play on the BL side. You just often don't have a lot of time to work with. They are going to be able to pick things up a little earlier here, though. They've done that damage to Flex, and so as a result, they've forced Gaiman out of middle. Flash is going to go into the A site, but not to too much effect. There's actually no push happening for Entropy just yet.
Yeah, a lot of this is going to come down to where that final push comes to life. GG putting a lot more numbers towards the A bomb site, but it's not going to matter if Flex can hold on. He's already able to find one, but 40 actually able to take down Spoxy on the rotation, but Vise, you got to turn around at some point there. The backstab is right in store for him. Raffin good for 2. Flex finds another. Even though they don't have a lot of HP, it's still a 3-on-1 for Beva, but Beva, they all line up for him. What a mistake for GG. They throw it away in the final moment.
Yeah, that's not good at all. I mean, you think about how premium these rounds are on the Blacklist side. Getting even one like that is just such a massive boost. So Entropy have a round earlier than they ought to have. Gaiman, are they on the precipice of potentially losing this map? That would definitely be something of a concern.
Yeah, that's definitely a round they're going to look back on if they don't win this map. But for now, they've got the advantage still on their side. The GR, that comfort they can play with for now. Flex sneaks up for the mid-bridge peak. He's able to find Medicine early on. Vise as well. Down to a single bit of HP, but look at 40. He just jumps out into mid with able to find 2. And GG, it's all on to Lion Claw now. 1-on-2 situation. Vise still fighting with almost no health to work with. But if Entropy can get an early lead on the BL side, it's just so massive for what they might be able to do moving forward on this map. But Lion Claw, he's going to go down. Beva does it again when it matters most. And Entropy, they're leading it from the BL side.
Which is not what's supposed to be happening. So some recovering to be done for Gaiman. Straight back out into mid once again. And the customary exchange of utility will go back and forth. Nice nade onto Vise, who has been that player that's like to sort of just push his way forward here and see if he can find anything through that smoke. Not having any luck this round.
Yeah, right now, Game and Gladiators playing this one a little bit safer, and you can see a bit of discomfort on the Entropy side as Vise going down early, but there's still no forward control just yet to answer back. Flex still pressing the issue up here on the mid-prep position. He's going to get caught, though, taken down to 10 HP. They know exactly where he is. He's got no space to really move from this position without a smoke screen to get out of there, and so Gainer. He just has to have the timing ready to go, and this should be an easier trade for them, but Manison getting pre-fired as well, and Flex somehow able to get out of there alive.
This round looking a little better for Gaiman. Entropy may just be corralled into an A take through lane. Do you have Bever there with the C4? Just making sure that Gaiman's not on the push around behind. Good heads up play. 40 is going to work his way up through lane. And the rest of Entropy might just be making their way through from A main. So clean entries are going to be required here. With 26 seconds left on the clock, there'll be a fast rotate, and there's already 3 players on A. This is not a round that should be going the way of Entropy. Lion Claw, however, is going to fall early on in the piece, but Raffin is there for a triple kill to trade things down, and Gaiman will securely lock that one in.
Yeah, really good rotation into the bomb site there for GG, and they will get this one done, but trading rounds, if they can do it here, is not a bad result for Entropy on this side of the map. If they can keep it close going into the second half, they should have a pretty good opportunity still on their hands. But this is where GG, if they know what they need to do here, they're looking to run away with it now on the GR side, and that utility is going to make it that much harder to break through. Manison and Gainer already under half. Vias sneaking out. Here comes the mid flash. Flex good for one on the other side of it. Raffin and Dezane collapse in to shut down the push. 40 left alone. 1 versus 3. Almost finds a second there. Gets the little fadeaway shots onto Lion Claw in the shoulder, and now it's a 2-on-1 situation. Bomb in his hands.
Definitely not an unwinnable one. And has a couple of options. Can take a little bit of a slower approach or pick the pace up. And it looks like he's going to go reasonably quickly in towards A. This would be a really good decision from him, actually, to get the plant down on A right now. He spots out Lion Claw. Spoxy, he'll know, is relatively close as well, because some extra shots did come through there, but it comes down to this one shot. Another clutch on offer here for Entropy, which would be massive on the Blacklist side. 40, not moving a muscle, but eventually knows that he has to try to get some information, and will go right into the line that Spoxy is holding. The defuse secured, and Gaiman survive another round.
Yeah, you've got to hand it, though, to Entropy. Every single round feels like a potential win for them on the Blacklist side. That is not easy to do on a map like Mexico. So if they can just find these little opportunities, even if they're only able to get 3 or 4 on this side of the map, that is a huge swing in their direction as they switch sides. So 4 more left in the half. All they really need here is 2 rounds to feel good about this one. So 4 total would be really solid for Entropy on this side. But for GG, they're looking to have a complete shutdown here. 7-2 half is kind of the standard goal for most teams, I would say, on the GR side of Mexico. So any more mistakes is when it starts to already feel like you're losing those opportunities.
Not as much mid presence this round from Gaiman, but Entropy not taking advantage of that by playing it quickly at all. Bever's pretty far progressed, though, up in alley. And typically, when you're on the GR side, one of the ways that you look for information or try to take a bit of space is a push out from A in alley. So he would be perfectly positioned to shut that down if it were to come. Now, though, position given away, and big old whiff onto Flex there means that he's not really going to get too much done. This first half, it started really well for Entropy, but it started to lose a bit of steam for me now.
Yeah, it's only going to get tougher from here. But that's kind of how this side of the map goes. They had a couple opportunities that were kind of handed to them. You think about the Bevo 1v3 being one of the only 2 rounds they've got, and Now it's really on to 40 find the opening. He's able to get one, taking down a 13 HP after that fight on the line claw. But Zane, timing was good, but the shots weren't good enough to find his way through. Now it's going to be a full push onto the A bomb site. Raffin not able to find anything either, but Spoxy, there's still a chance here. This nade could find the first kill in the 1-on-2. Unfortunately, it's not going to fully connect, though it was very, very close here. He's going to go on the lurk. Looking, he's going to spot Gainer on the ammo stacks. That's a lot of information to work with. He also knows off of the nade, Manison's in the forklift position, so he knows both players' spots now. He just has to find a way to isolate them individually, and there's still an opportunity to win this round. Unfortunately, the double peek isn't going to be good enough to hold on for this one for Spoxy, and there you have it. Entropy able to find themselves another.
Yeah, these rounds are important. 3-3. So we're kind of getting into pass score, or even maybe beyond pass score for Entropy on this map. One more would certainly seal the deal that this has been a very good half. Not there yet, but change in approach from Entropy. And they are working their way up through sewer. Lionclaw hasn't spotted it early, and he'll get taken down very quickly. That's a nice pick for Entropy. They decide not to accelerate off of the back of it. The flash is catching Spoxy, but wisely Entropy backing away. You don't necessarily always want to overcommit from this position. It's a spot where you can kind of like walk into a crossfire between the B and the A sites. So don't actually half mind the fact that Entropy have backed off here.
Smart call. Now they've got to reset into mid, which is still a tricky place to execute, especially when the smoke cycle is still going from GG. They've got to wait for the smoke cycle to break. They can find a way to break through the back tail of it, but there's still a big opening here. Given Lionclaw's early death, you've got that exposure a little bit towards the B bomb site. Spoxy is actually the only defender in this direction. If he goes down with that arm in hand, they've got nothing to hang on to towards this B side of the map, so you might see a bit of a re-engage happening pretty quickly. You can see them starting to group up for the pressure play. Vise takes down Spoxy. That's the opening they needed to break through. Now Flex knows he's going to have to make a big play here with Raffin to hold on. Gainer gets spotted out, but Raffin and Flex, they are somehow still alive in this position. Here comes the swing from Dezane as well. Takes it to the one-on-one, and somehow it's a winnable situation now for either team. Flex going to back out. The C4 has been dropped. He knows it, but this is a much better position. He can play off of the chance. There's a player double doors, and Beva makes so much noise here. Flex knows exactly what's coming his way, but it doesn't matter. He whiffs the spray down, and Beva, again in the 1v1, gets it done.
Yeah, this is becoming extremely problematic now for Gaming Gladiators. This is not the half that they wanted or expected. Entropy have picked up a couple of pretty big clutches. 40 starts this round off favorably for Entropy. Once again, could they even potentially win this half the way things are going?
It seems likely at this point. Gaming Gladiators, it's been a little bit too silent on this side of the map, especially when you look at the key hold on this B water position. Lionclaw, very uncharacteristic of him to be at an 0-6 score in such a crucial map, and he's kind of cost them a few rounds himself here, just not being able to hold on to that early position. And you've got Spoxy as well, where the not as valuable on a map like Mexico. It's very close quarters, and you miss your first shot with the on this map, you are done and taken out very quickly. So it makes it a tougher situation to be in for Gaming Gladiators, because if they wait for the push, they're almost at the disadvantage with the way they're playing here if they don't have an early pick. And you can see Entropy as well. I like the way they're playing. Not too overzealous. Even when they have the numbers advantage, they know they've got to play it methodically up to the finish line on this map.
Boxy, big job here. Hits that first shot nicely. He's got Lionclaw to help him out as well. The rifle and the Orm combining for enough kills to make this round look comfortable, but Madison still in for it. Swings onto Dezane, won't get the duel. And Gaming Gladiators are able to hold on to that round by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah, the scary part at the end there. Madison almost doing another 1v3 for Entropy. That would have been maybe the nail in the coffin, but now GG, at the very least, they can still win this half, even though they've given up quite a few rounds. They've got something creative in store for the BL side. They still have a way to get this one done, but very good half nonetheless from Entropy and what they've been able to do on this BL side. You can tell they've studied how they want to craft that pressure play into mid, and oftentimes they're getting the better of those fights in the early mid situation. I do like the way 40's been playing this as well alongside Beva. They're not afraid to take risks to find these early mid kills, and again they find them. Flex and Spoxy go down.
Getting himself one. This will come through effectively for Gaiman. Now Lion Claw needs to win this duel. 40 will miss his shot with the Orm. That leaves this round hanging in the balance. The half is up for grabs. A 5-4 on offer. Madison will get it done. Entropy are actually going to take the lead. They take the lead on the BL side.
Yeah, that is a really scary first half if you're GG. This is a tough battle ahead now. It's not impossible. They just have to have a stellar BL side planned out for this one because it's not an easy map to get those BL rounds on. And for Entropy, they know they can play safe here. They've got the advantage, and that is a golden position to be in on this GR side because it is so hard to take positional control, especially when there's an that has to find the opening as well, because Spoxy, he can't really do much if they just go for a quick A push. He's not going to be super useful, so he has to find something early in the round to work with for this team. Otherwise, the push becomes almost impossible, and you can see Entropy, they're not even trying to really aggress on this mid hold. They're just playing a nice little passive triangle setup to try and bait them in.
Flare. We'll be having a look. Oh, straight through the smoke. Bias goes down. And a bit more spam from that M4A1S through the box. Actually didn't connect too much onto Beva, but now that the pistol's out, Flex is getting a lot of work done. Apparently, between these two teams, this map is a blacklist-sided map. Because this is looking like a fantastic start to the second half for Gaiman. 40 will tie in with a couple before he falls. That's about all she wrote. So 5-5 the scoreline.
Yeah, it's certainly not over just yet. GG doing a great job of kicking off their blacklist side with a decisive round, and that's going to force Entropy to shift the pace here. It's very hard to play this map if you don't go for some mid controls, so I like the change up here, playing a little bit more forward in mid, putting Gainer on that top ramp position to try and force the pressure on this early push if they go for the fast mid control again. And you can see the counter utility being thrown by GG, just getting those smokes down on the top of ramp to try and force that engagement to be uncomfortable for Gainer kind of lurking on this ramp position. And at this point, it comes back to kind of the classic strat on Mexico, and that's run down the clock with the GR smokes. And that's exactly the game Entropy want to play here. They want GG to be uncomfortable on the timer when the push has to happen.
Flash will keep him at bay for now. Big mid setup for Entropy. But no probing movements from Gaiman just yet. They've got a lot of their util still to play with. They're just taking the time and bleeding out the counter util from Entropy. Now that they know they have that advantage, they're going to start to have a look. They're giving that job again over to Flex to try to find these entries. It's a ballsy play. Orm on the entry, but it works out this time. 1-for-1, however. Keeps it in check for Entropy, and they do start to fight their way back into this round. Gainer, desperate for another kill here. Catches up with Raffen, but ends up giving his life in order to do so. 29 seconds ticking away. Gaiman have to get a wriggle on now.
Yeah, now Madison left in the 1-on-2. Spoxy finding that kill onto 40. Look at Madison on the off angle. Takes Spoxy out right away. Both players really want to take this fight, but Madison finally going to back off. He knows the timer is low, and Madison, he's going to catch Dezane off guard, misses the shots, but Dezane knows he has no time to plan. He just has to take the fight, and he's going to win it.
6-5. Gaiman take the lead once again, and we are definitely seeing a lot more blacklist rounds here on Mexico than anticipated, but it is going to show that it is possible. Gaiman, I'm sure they're going to take a leaf out of that last round as well and say, we'll just keep things slow here. Not get up to anything too crazy early on in the piece. It worked for us last round. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, it's such a unique approach as well to the BL side. 2 arms on such a small map, playing these close angles. Most teams wouldn't even think of trying on a map like Mexico, but it's actually worked out quite well for GG because Spoxy and Flex are both really good at aggressive auming, so it's netting them so much in the early round that they can actually carry it through all the way to the finish line, and that just goes to show you the versatility advantages of a team like this. They're able to find these entries in a way that most other teams couldn't on this map, whereas Entropy, they are going to start this round off with a nice little win. Taking Flex out of the picture. Dzane as well, down to 26 HP. And this is going to be a challenging one ahead now. Dzane, not a whole lot he's going to be able to do. Once he peaks, he's pretty much done and dusted at that point. So Entropy, a good early pressure play, kicks it off.
Job's not done. Oh, flash in. Will pretty much blind everybody on Gamer there, and another one to follow suit. Actually trying to set Gainer up for a little bit of a push there. He went down, but there is still a hefty defense in mid. Entropy make that one work. It's just a back and forth battle at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, all of these rounds really, really scrappy to close them out, and if it's still anybody's for the taking, it's just that slight comfort of the GR side in the situation might be enough for Entropy to feel like they've got this one. It's really, at this point, just making sure they don't overexpose to Spoxy and Flex going for these early picks, and if they can do that, they're still going to be in good shape. Spoxy, though, I like the play call here. No double arm on the table anymore. It's only going to be Flex, and it might give him some more versatility in the early round here, just spamming these boxes down with the M4.
A lot of HP taken away from Bever and Gainer. That does somewhat set Gaiman up for success. As is typically the case on Mexico, there's going to be a lot of milling around outside of mid being done by the blacklist side. Minute and 20 left on the clock, and normally it's around that 1 minute mark or 1 minute and a half mark where you start to see the blacklist side actually having a bit of a look. Gaiman waiting that clock down now. Smoke's going to come through. 2 smokes, in fact, for middle from Gaiman. And sooner or later, the flash is going to get tossed over the top, and that's going to be the go signal for Gaiman. Off they go into mid once again to try to test the defense of Entropy, and this time the flashes were successful. Vise and Feather both going down. Couldn't see anything. Gaiman again making inroads on this blacklist side. Madison full whited. But not a concern. He's not under pressure just yet. This looks like it'll be a B finish from Entropy. Or from Gaiman, rather.
Yeah, really good utility usage on this round coming out from GG. Now all they've got to do is hang on to the numbers in this 5-on-2. Madison trying to find his way into the lurk, but Flex, he's just stalling down the clock here, able to take off about 10 seconds in that 1-on-2, and now it's all about the hold. Madison and 40 looking for anything they can find here, but this is a full safe stack from GG. This is really the best play call you can make here. Not a whole lot of risk in how they're holding this one. It forces Entropy to make a move, and now they don't even have time to do that. They've only got 15 seconds to get their way in, and GG, they get it done once again, but you got to give them credit here. This utility on the mid take has been incredible to watch.
Yeah, it just seems to be a real problem for Entropy. They don't seem to have an answer for it at the moment. I'm wondering if we're going to get a change of pace in here at some point from Gaiman. Maybe not this round. Flex waiting for it. Oh, that might actually be the go signal. 2 kills straight up. You're not going to be messing around at all. Vise should definitely be traded down here, but looks like he's actually going to get out. So maybe a little bit of baiting going on there for Gaiman. Flex went through, the rest did not. the flood there would not have been a bad choice into middle after they got those opening 2 kills, but instead they are going to go back to the tried and true slower play, but that does just give a bit of time for Entropy to work. 40 to find that pick. We're back now into the 3-on-3. This could have been a vastly different story for Gaiman had they picked the pace up instead.
Yeah, now it's a much closer round in store for us. Still slightly in favor of Gaiman Gladiators. Medicine in a 1-on-2. Does have the C4 down on the top of mid. 2 HP left, though, after that engagement. Not going to feel too good for his chances now. The line claw, unexpected backstab, gets it down to the 1-on-1. Now Spoxy spots him, the box damage enough to find that final 2 HP. And even though the BL side is a bit of a challenge for most teams, GG, they are finding their stride here in the second half.
Yeah, credit definitely to both teams for a hard-fought battle right now on Mexico. It's really hard to say which way this one's going to go, but it's definitely starting to feel like it's Gaiman's to lose. I mean, they've been really, really good on this T side. To be fair, Entropy were pretty good on the T side as well, but maybe not good enough today.
Yeah, at this point, I do like the setup of Entropy. Giving up mid control, they know they're not winning the fight for mid, so they're just going to play for the sites at this point. You've only got really 40 on the ramp position, getting that smoke cycled through, and just playing for a little bit of early information is going to be Vise now, changing up his position as he gets the second smoke down. So it is going to be Entropy playing the safe stack here. This is really the best play call when you're not having a whole lot of luck on the early fights. It puts that pressure really onto GG to go for a full side execute. But Spoxy holding this angle is going to be pretty deadly potentially here. He gets the leg shot, and look at the utility again, opening up the door for GG to break through. Now a 3-on-2, Vise and 40. They've got to be moving quickly to stop this one, but GG, they already back off, fully reset into mid. 40 is on the other side of this smoke, but I'm not sure they're going to know he's there just yet.
Yeah, I mean, it is a 3v2 though, so as long as Gaiman can trade it down effectively, they will win this round, and GR players are pretty isolated, so you're asking for a big spray down here from Vise, really. That's what it's going to have to be. His push in through from Ali into A for Gaiman is, by the looks of things, going to result in a free plant. They have the site. Vise is going to go through the smoke on the timing. They weren't expecting that. There was an axe out at one point, a bomb out at one point, but Flying Claw and Spoxy looking to salvage it. Plant's going to go down nice and quick. Spoxy just watching the door there with the Colt in hand. Danger has now passed for the moment. We're into the eye of the storm. 40. It's a really tough task to try to retake this one. I think this is the right angle to do it from, but it needs to be a little more proactive than this. You're not going to be, you're not getting a mistake from Gaiman at this point. They're not going to give you a peak. You have to make the peak happen. And I know that's callous and harsh, but at the end of the day, this is too well drilled of a team to be making a mistake in a situation like that. So this will be another round for Gaiman Gladiators, and they're now 1 away from finishing this series off.
Yeah, so far this has been one of the best BL sides on Mexico I've seen in quite some time. The utility almost flawless on the execution here for GG. Really solid pop flashes, nade stacking from these key positions out, and now they've got the opportunity on the table to win it now. It's a 5-on-4 gainer out of the picture. Zane finds the nice little jump peek early on in mid, catch him off guard, and for Entropy, they've got to play this one extremely safe now. They've already lost a bit of utility in mid, so you're going to see GG start to take that forward control, pressuring that early mid position, forces 40 even to back off of the A ramp, and this is where GG can just play the clock a little bit and even find another potentially.
Spam from Flex. Not going to result in a kill just yet. 40 down low. Gainer already picked up. Pieces of the puzzle are falling into place for Gaiman Gladiators. It's been a tough series today. It's been a long series from them. Our job is being done. 40 trying to get aggressive in that position that I spoke about. Sometimes when you're down, you need to make a bit of a push happen on the GR side, and Ali on A is often the place to do it. And cognizant of that possibility, have got Dezane just keeping an eye on it. Jiggle peeking that corner. She's going to go into 40. He misses his shot, however. Dezane can't quite catch up with him. But Flex has grabbed the kill on the Beba in the meanwhile over towards B. Does that change the plan at all for Gaming Gladiators? Doesn't seem to have. We haven't seen really much B action at all. And it seems it'll be an A finish for the Gaming Gladiators. I would say it's going to be a finish because I think this is where the map ends. 10-6 is the scoreline. And Gaming Gladiators will finish it off. They pick up the series 2-1. A hard-fought victory, Kyle, but a victory nonetheless.
Yeah, what a way to do it. Only losing one round on their BL side of Mexico. Not an easy path to victory at all, but they can at the very least hold their heads high after a well-fought victory. But you've got to shout out Entropy here as well. I mean, they did not make that easy to get to the finish line.
No, definitely not. Look, I think, again, credit to Entropy for making a much cleaner, closer series, I should say, than what I had expected. But either way, job done by Gaming Gladiators. That's my takeaway. And it's time for us to head on out. So we'll hand it back over to the analyst desk to close the day.
Thank you so much, Elvish Guy and Kyle. I really appreciate your work today. It was incredible, to be honest. Great performance and 100%. Analysis.
What game, man.
I do have to agree with what Kyle said, that you have to give it to Entropy. They did have a
very
tough good fighting chance, yeah, to say the least.
Yeah, they gave them a tough time regardless of their standings on the leagues and their previous matches. They are playing against the top 3. The number 3 on the standings right now is GG. And playing against Entropy, some would say it's an easy matchup for them, but no, watch the match from start to finish. It's a tough game for Team GG.
It was a struggle.
Yeah, especially the second game, man. A full stomp from Entropy, a full stomp from a team who you was just watching his previous game, you think, oh, it's an easy game from GG, but no. I mean, Biva and Gaynor did surprise us all the matches, starting from game 1, game 2, 15 kill, game 3, 16 kill, all of these golden names from Entropy. Mexico is a decider map. We don't see Mexico, we rarely see Mexico.
Not really,
yeah, so it's not the default anchor or compound type map. So when you see Mexico, it might go for both teams. And Entropy did surprise us. It was a back and forth game, but once Team GG went to the BL side, it was a stomp for them. GG can play and know how to play their BL side and control it. Thanks to a sniper like Spoxy, an anchor like Flex. You can't enter a side where Flex is. And again, and again, and again, and again. How many times can we say it? Koshari Spoxy is the MVP.
I mean, God bless this man, and I really have to give it to him. Spoxy played a phenomenal 3 games today and even previously, and I really do hope that his performance continues like this. And I'm happy that GG got this win because they deserve it. I'm a bit unhappy that as well, you know, it's like double side. I'm unhappy that Entropy didn't also get this win. I'm how can I say this? It's well-deserved gameplay, to say the least. You know, I really think that Spoxy did shine on the arm, especially during the initial rounds, and he helped build and shape the momentum of Gaming Gladiators and their approach towards this game.
I mean, winning the second map for Entropy was like, and I did say it, if you are going to win the second map with this style and with this chip, you better win the third one. Because you surprised all of us, so continue the surprise. You didn't come this far only to come this far. And that's what the message was from Entropy Gaming. Maybe it's just a statement from them, or maybe, as you said, it's the movement and the mind games coming from Team GG. 100%. Anyways, heading to Mexico, to a rare map. It's a good practice for both teams, and as we say, like daily, it's just the mid split. We still have a lot of weeks to come and a lot of weeks to go, and if anything, Entropy can secure their place on top 5.
Yeah, I how can I say? I can't wait to interview. I hope we're interviewing Spoxy. Yeah, I don't mind interviewing anyone else, but. Yeah, it was a great day, to be honest. Like, a lot of interesting games, a lot of CrossFire,
games.
A lot of knowledge for me and the audience to observe and to possibly like witness together, you know, and it's not over yet for any teams, in my opinion. Yeah, we're almost at the midpoint, but nonetheless, we will reach a point where it's gonna be way harder to climb the top 4 or to maintain in the top 4 compared to the previous weeks.
What I really love about CrossFire is when you're entering a game with the mentality as audience and as talents ourselves, we're entering as, okay, this game is going to be 2-0, this game is going to be a stomp for this team, and then you're surprised with 3 games.
Yeah.
This happened with TPIGV, this happened with Rock, this did happen with Anubis multiple times, especially after like a losing streak coming from Anubis, then coming back, surprising all of us, meaning every day we're just here on the studio watching these beasts play. It's a new surprise and a new upset for one team, a surprise for the other, smiles here and anger and frown on the other team, and that's what I love about it.
I mean, I just got some good news from production.
Tell me.
Unfortunately, we're not going to be interviewing Spoxy, but it will be with Flex, and it is my honor, and I can't wait to talk a little bit with this man.
Come on, man.
Mr. Flex.
Hello guys, how are you?
How are you? I want to flex on camera.
good,
Just I like the name already. You know, don't take me wrong. Great victory, great match. I just want to ask a quick question. Other than this game, moving forward to the other games, are you excited? And do you think you guys have the potential to possibly, if things go your way, to climb to rank 1?
Yes, of course. We won the last season actually, so rank 1 is for us very doable. There's no team in this league that we're afraid of. The regular season, it's whatever right now. We just care about the playoffs. We are full focus on the playoffs and we are preparing for it, and that's all.
Fair enough. I respect that, man. And I'd like to send it over to my colleague Hazan. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask?
Flex, I see you, man. You're getting MVPs here and there. You're doing great overall. Losing the second map was important for you guys. You bounced back on the third one. It was super good from your side. What do you think was the key or the main point that made you come back on the third map and finishing it off?
I think losing port was good for us because we actually want to play some official games on Mexico. So it was good practice for us. It was some good practice for us, and we're happy that we actually lost port so we can play some Mexico games.
Yeah, we rarely see Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, I did point it out earlier that I think the call maybe was to get to game 3 possibly and get some more exposure onto Mexico as well. A great performance. Thank you so much, Flex. Thank you to all your colleagues and your organization, man. And I wish you the best in your future endeavors.
I mean, you're right. I know you're happy with that.
You want to swap? You want to?
I understand.
You want to?
Hey, take my place.
I mean, it was just a hunch, right? Because it made sense. I felt like at some point, like maybe the call would be to play some Mexico because they needed some more exposure in that sense.
And you did mention it on Mexico specifically because we rarely see Mexico, and I know for a fact that in the playoffs there will be the ban and pick system for the map V2. It will be more focused on the rare map that we see. So Eagle Eye will be there, Mexico will be there, and also the teams need to be in shape and had enough practice for maps like Mexico. And GG did have their practice.
Yeah, I mean here I agree. We're looking at the standings now. I'm pretty sure all teams have played 9 matches across the board. What do you think? I mean, this was kind of similar to both our predictions. That it was going to be Anubis, GG, Rock, Unnights, and possibly GB, depending on their performance. And I'm sad to say, like, Entropy and TBI and 999 are definitely running out of time. And I do hope that they can, not just for me, but ideally for the audience, if they're going to be able to come back and give us some more good shows, you know?
Yeah, with a small difference in the round and the AP between the top 3, Unnights and Rock and GG, it makes me super excited for the next week because see, one game would differ from Unnights, Rock and Anubis. They are all in the same position. GG, sorry, they are all in the same position. It's just one game. A lose for one is a win for the other. So it's the 4th week that's gonna make the huge difference, Koshari.
Yeah, I mean, next week is probably, I'm pretty sure it's week 5, and then shortly after it's going to be playoffs. So my prediction, like I told you from last week, I think we are both kind of right, and it's just going to be decided next week based on GV mainly and Entropy, you know, if they're going to be able to challenge the top 4 titans of the league, you know.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm super excited. Please stay tuned with us.
Same.
Playoffs is around the corner. It's going to be pretty fun, and I hope everyone is present for those weekends, you know. And, I just want to say before we end or close it here, Hazem, is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, man, you covered everything. I'm super excited for the next week. It will change a lot within the standings, and I'm super excited. I'm super happy that I was with you on the desk.
Thank you so much, Hazem. Thank you as well to Kyle and Elfish Guy. I'm not going to say boy this time, and I apologize for last time. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night and a great
night,
weekend.
guys.
See you.